Good morning. It's 5 o'clock. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. And boy, are we cold this morning. It's 18 degrees outside. You'll want to bundle up. New details in the search for the gunman who shot and killed the CEO of a major insurance company. Law enforcement sources are saying images of that suspect's unmasked face were captured days earlier because he was flirting with a woman. Here's ABC's Andrew Dimbert.
It was a brief, flirtatious moment, but it could help catch an accused killer. Police say the images show the face of the man accused of gunning down United Health Insurance CEO Brian Thompson. They say a woman checking in the suspect at a New York City hostel asked to see his smile. The suspected shooter then pulled down his mask just long enough for the surveillance camera to capture his face. Police now receiving a flood of tips as their manhunt enters a third day.
Now, that still shot photo is front page on every newspaper and news website in the nation. Investigators believe that someone will identify that man. Other news, a break in the case of a targeted attack in Mount Juliet.
Police say they arrested the person who fired shots at Wilson County Pastor Greg Locke's home in September. They executed a search warrant at a home in Hermitage and arrested 20-year-old Tyler Poole. Locke's home had 30 to 50 bullet holes in it. One of his kids was home at the time but wasn't hurt. No motive given by police at this time. Ken Weaver, WTN News.
A Nashville man has been arrested for making threats of mass violence against a local church. 26-year-old Corey Gamble reportedly sent the messages through Instagram to a friend. Gamble's being held on $5,000 bond. Well, tonight is the annual Christmas tree lighting in Nashville, and it's happening at Public Square Park right in front of the courthouse at 6 o'clock. Local school and church choirs will be belting out carols. If you're headed that way, you're asked to bring along some new and unwrapped toys for a last-minute toy drive. Franklin's tree lighting, that's also tonight on the square. It'll start as well at 6 o'clock. Market Numbers Report brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com. Here's Michelle Franzen.
Stocks came down from their records as traders anticipate tomorrow's November jobs report. The Dow lost 248 points, the S&P dipped 11, and the Nasdaq gave up 35. Most of the action was actually in the crypto market after Bitcoin surpassed $100,000. American Airlines soared 17% after saying it's making more revenue in the last quarter of 2024 than expected. Semiconductor supplier Synopsys lost more than 12% after giving a revenue forecast that fell short of some analyst estimates, pointing to continued macro uncertainties. American Eagle Outfitters fell 14% after the retailer said it's preparing for potential choppiness outside of peak selling periods. 8 members of the oil-producing countries in OPEC have decided to put off increasing oil production early next year, pointing to weaker than expected demand and competing production.
No big changes in stock futures this morning. The Dow futures are minus 21, NASDAQ futures minus 8, and the S&P futures are falling just 6. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather are next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. Well, looks like the roads are in good shape heading in so far this morning. No delays on 24, 65 looks good, and 40, no problems as well. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Information fueled,
opinion driven. This is Nashville's Morning News with Dan Mandis.
And so, my fellow Americans,
we talk news.
507 Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. There is so much going on. I am so glad it's Friday, but you know what? There are days when I wish that I had like some sort of a Saturday show just to catch up on all the stories that I can't get to. Good morning to you, friends. Dan Mandis here along with Johnny B. Jones as well. Some quick cabinet news. Senator Mike Lee was on with Benny Johnson, and, you know, a lot of people are looking at the possible confirmation of Pete Hegseth, and they're really saying that this is the hill that some of these senators really may die on with President Donald Trump, incoming President Donald Trump. You still have, at last count, maybe 5 or 6 senators that are showing some concerns about Pete Hegseth. However, it looks like, at least if you believe Senator Mike Lee, he says Pete Hegseth will indeed be confirmed. This is what he says.
I do. One of the reasons is, it's one thing separate and apart from whether somebody's just hesitating and whether they have a practice of allowing somebody to go through the committee process before weighing in. It's one thing for people to say they might have concerns or they might be reluctant to vote for somebody. It's quite another to vote not to confirm a nominee from your own president on a high-profile, prominent cabinet-level position or important sub-cabinet position like FBI director. They're very different things.
Yeah, I mean, Lee is absolutely right. And let's be honest about Donald Trump. And, yes, his numbers, they were huge. He won the popular vote, and he also, of course, won the Electoral College. I personally don't believe that any other Republican would have been able to accomplish or reach the heights that Donald Trump has reached politically, especially with the numbers from the previous election. So the likes of Joni Ernst and Tom Cornyn and those others, they really do need to understand that both Hegseth and Kash Patel are right for the jobs they have been nominated for. And I really don't think that they want to get off on the wrong foot with President-elect Donald Trump, not with the numbers and not with the popularity that he has right now. Now, Trump won Iowa handily, 56 to 42%. So Joni Ernst, of course, you probably know, she is the senator from Iowa. And so if she is out there and she is showing concerns for Pete Hegseth, she's got to understand that the numbers show that Iowans want Donald Trump to have the cabinet he wants. So here's the deal. Pete Hegseth is now defending himself, and I think that this is a great thing. But she is out there, Joni Ernst, she is out there telling various news outlets that she has not yet made up her mind on Pete Hegseth.
All I'm saying is we had a very frank and productive discussion, and I know that we will continue to have conversation in the upcoming month.
Okay, it doesn't sound on your answer that you've gotten to a yes. And if that is the case, it sounds to me as if the hearing will be critical for his nomination. Am I right about that?
I think you are right. I think for a number of our senators, they want to make sure that any allegations have been cleared, and that's why we have to have a very thorough vetting process.
All of those anonymous allegations that have been made by anonymous people, and nobody knows who they are. So what are you going to do? You're going to ask Pete Hegseth, okay, so did you do this? And he's going to say no. Now, just so we're clear, recess appointments, it sounds like that's clearly not going to happen. And so I would like Hegseth to be able to go in front of the committee and tell his side of the story, like he did with Megyn Kelly. I played you all of that audio yesterday. More on that in a second. I heard from several of you after I did play all that audio, and I had about, 10 clips yesterday? Maybe we podcast it. But he had this epic interview. It was an hour long with Megyn Kelly. Great interview. And I heard from a lot of you folks, and you said that after hearing him defend himself and after hearing him tell his side of the story, your mind was changed, or at the very least, it did give you something to think about, which I believe is good. Here's more from Senator Mike Lee.
We got to be very careful here not to allow any very small group of Republican senators to exercise a de facto veto at the outset without ever having to go to the floor and man up, woman up, whatever you want to call it, by actually voting no. Those are two very different things. And I think some of those who may have expressed reluctance publicly or privately or both are going to find that it's much more difficult on a high-profile, important, personally imperative appointment like these ones to vote no.
Yeah, I mean, basically you need a majority, simple majority there in the Senate to confirm. All the Democrats will do. You know this, right? All the Democrats are going to vote no on Pete Hegseth. So that leaves it to the Republicans to get it together, and he can only afford, Trump and Hegseth, they can only afford 3 defections. New York Post, by the way, reporting earlier that privately there are 0 Republican senators that actually believe that Pete Hegseth will not make it in, that he will be able to get in, that he will be confirmed. I think people like Joni Ernst, perhaps they're making him sweat it out. Perhaps they want to follow the normal order of things and have him go through the Senate confirmation hearings. Here's the thing. There is perhaps a lot of posturing going on, but listening to Pete Hegseth, listening to him tell his story, listening to him defend himself against these anonymous allegations, I think would be worth the Senate confirmation hearings. And talk about what he went through, the mistakes that he made. We've all made mistakes, friends. The perspective he now has, hearing him defend himself. I believe that he does, Pete Hegseth, now that they have allowed him to, because this is part of, I think, what's going on, is that somebody told him, I don't know who the hell it was, but somebody told him, we don't want to give these stories a lot of oxygen, so we're just not going to talk about it. And now finally somebody has said to Hegseth, you know what? No. You're not going to roll over and you're not going to die. You're not going to allow the media to label you whatever it is that they're trying to label you as. You have to go out swinging. If you end up going down, you're going to go down swinging. That's the big thing. And so he has been able to now come out. He is unshackled. He is unleashed. And yes, Pete Hegseth, he is now defending himself as he should.
And I'm proud of what I fought for. I'm not going to back down from them one bit. I will answer all of these senators' questions, but this will not be a process tried in the media. I don't answer to anyone in this group. None of you. Not to that camera at all. I answer to President Trump, who received 76 million votes on behalf and a mandate for change. I answer to the 100 senators who are part of this process and those in the committee. And I answer to my Lord and Savior and my wife and my family. I'm proud to be here. And as long as Donald Trump wants me in this fight, I'm going to be standing right here in this fight, fighting to bring our Pentagon back to what it needs to be.
What have your conversation? So I love that. I love that, he literally looked at the camera and he says, I don't have to answer to you, the media, that camera. No, he's answering to Trump and his family and to his God, Lord, and Savior Jesus Christ. And I love that. I love that he is now fighting back because, to be honest with you, and I don't want to get into all of the moral failings of Pete Hegseth because Washington, D.C. is full of those folks. But he's got a lot to be proud of. He really does. He says learn from his mistakes. That's number one. But number two, Donald Trump and I played you the audio yesterday where Trump said that he wanted someone to go in and really fight for the people that were out there on the front lines. That's who Donald Trump wanted in this position, somebody who has gone out, who has not only been literally on the field of battle. Because let's be honest, Ron DeSantis, he was not on the field of battle, and I like Ron DeSantis, but he wasn't. Pete Hegseth was. And so he's got that perspective that many, many others do not. Joni Ernst does. She was on the field of battle. We talked about that yesterday. But I do believe that Hegseth is the right person for the job. And here's the deal. This is the guy that Donald Trump wants. And he is going in, and I don't believe for these senators, Joni Ernst and John Cornyn and others, I don't believe that this is the hill that these senators want to die on with Donald Trump, because it sounds like Trump is going to the mat. We'll have to see how this whole thing plays out. It is 5:16. Time to check the roads on WTN.
Not seeing any big delays so far. It looks like 24 is in good shape heading into Nashville. And 65 also, no problems there. 40 looking pretty good. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Joan, it's too cold to drive.
Well, okay, so here you go. You may need to start the car, warm it up a little bit before you head out on the roads. Be careful that you're wearing long sleeves, long pants.
Sure, wear pants.
Gloves.
Gloves.
So here, you want to hear something funny?
Okay.
I think that we've gotten to Stefano DiPietro.
Oh, really?
Because he's not doing how to dress today. The anchor of the show is doing the how to dress part instead of him.
The anchor is.
Yes.
So do you think Stefano finally went to management and said, "Can I please stop telling people how to dress?"
I hope he did.
You know
I'll
what's so
keep
funny,
an eye
though?
on it.
I was walking out yesterday. There's some dude wearing shorts.
No.
Here in the building.
In the building.
Yeah. And then he's walking out.
And it wasn't Ken Weaver.
And it wasn't Ken Weaver. And I don't want to call the guy out, but he's wearing shorts. And I'm walking out. He and I walk out at the same time at 9:01. And he's wearing shorts, and I laughed and I said, "Clearly you don't listen to Stefano DiPietro, because he specifically told all Nashvillians to wear long pants."
Did he find that funny?
No. No. He had no idea what I was talking about because he's busy with his own show. So, and then I explained to him, and I got just like crickets. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like moving right along. By the way, he is wearing long pants today. I just saw him in the hallway. He is wearing long pants.
Is it big guy? Big, tall guy?
He's tall, beard, yeah.
Okay.
Nice guy.
Yeah.
Not going to, again, no names.
Yeah.
Kind of a hippie-looking fella.
Hippie? I don't know if he looks like a hippie.
Little hippie-looking?
Maybe.
Beard?
I don't know.
Yeah?
Yeah, whatever.
I think I know who you're talking about.
Okay. Listen, you have to be stoned, in my opinion, to be wearing shorts yesterday.
Even more stoned today. It's like 18 degrees. It's ridiculous.
Johnny, didn't you at one time have a big fight on the air about starting a car and letting it warm up? Was that me and you, or was that me and Weaver?
It may have been me, because
Johnny feels bizarrely passionate about letting your car warm up. Is that right, Johnny? Am I remembering that correctly?
When it's this cold, yes. You wanted to let it warm up a bit.
So how long do you let it warm? Watch this, John. So, Johnny, how long should a person let their car warm up?
Well, it's usually just a couple of minutes, but until it stops idling so high.
A couple of minutes.
Yeah.
All right. So, Joan, you lived on the East Coast.
Mm-hmm.
Would you let your car, when it was really cold, when you were living in New Jersey, did you let your car idle for 2 minutes, 3 minutes while it warmed up?
Yes.
You would?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't like that. I don't like getting in a cold car. At all.
You know what I had to do yesterday? Amy actually it was so cold.
You sent Amy out to warm up your car?
No.
You terrible person.
Hold on. She sent me out to the car to warm it up. Are you going to tell Amy she's a terrible person?
There you go.
No, you're a gentleman. That's what she'll say.
Yeah. That was a very kind thing to do.
Well, the weekend's coming up, and, I got to make nice with my wife so I can, have fun on this weekend. What? Hey, it's...
I think we just entered the Twilight Zone.
We just entered the awkward part of the segment.
I think you'll let her warm up a little bit, Dan.
Oh, there you go, Johnny.
Yeah.
There you go. Well, because as the weekend, comes ever closer, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, by Wednesday, she and I have barely spoken and we've barely seen each other because of our schedules. No, it's because of our schedule.
I get that.
And then, by Friday, it's like,
And then what happens Saturday?
You feel like newlyweds, eh?
That's the whole thing. Is I always strive by Wednesday. I'm trying to work my way back to her, babe, with a burning love inside. That's
Hubba,
the Four Tops.
hubba.
That's the Four Tops, by the way.
Yeah. Well, if the house is rocking, don't come knocking.
That's right.
exactly right.
Riker, cover your ears.
Riker,
Jeez.
go for a walk. I don't care if it's cold. Come back in 5 minutes. Hey, it's 5:21.
Go warm up the car.
5 minutes? Whoa.
I'm kidding on all of this. People, I'm kidding.
Okay.
Well.
You know what? I actually have not turned on, I haven't logged onto the super text line yet. Have you, Joan?
I'm doing so right now because I can only imagine.
No, I don't want to know. I'm just kidding, people. You know, they have to take a joke.
It's 4.5 minutes.
Hey, let's, Amy chiming in, is she?
Good morning,
we gotta
Amy.
go, man. We got to go.
Yes, we do.
It's 5:22 on Nashville's Morning News on WTN.
Oh, and now you want me to work. Okay.
I'm sorry. Hey, Joan, you want me to just let the sounder warm up a little bit? I think it's good now. Go ahead. It's been idling for a few seconds. I think you can speak.
So they've got more than just a hunch. New York City police say they are closing in on the United Healthcare CEO killer, and another insurance company reverses itself after getting some really bad press for a recent change. Wait till you hear this one. Those stories at 5:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Matt Murphy in the middle of downtown Franklin, Tennessee. We've talked so much about Savory Spice. I thought, why not show you the place? So let's go on in and see what's popping at Savory Spice. As I've always said, you will smell the spices even before you walk in. I can smell them right here in the doorway. Come on in, and let's introduce you to the one and only Holly, who is the owner and proprietor of Savory Spice. Say hey, Holly.
Hello, everyone.
Now, enough about Holly. Let's talk about spicy and easy products like the incredible taco soup, which, as I said, you put this in a crock pot, you put all the ingredients that it tells you to buy right there, you put the spices in, and it's so easy. So if you don't know what you're doing around the kitchen, it's a perfect way to find your way around the kitchen, as is the Mediterranean dill risotto. Now, for the holidays, pumpkin pie spice. What doesn't it have, Holly?
Pumpkin.
Doesn't have any pumpkin in it. That's a fun fact for all of you kids out there. Now, if you stop by Savory Spice, either in the Franklin location or at L&L Market, you can get yourself a sample of the dill dip, which is my absolute favorite. Just tell them Matt Murphy sent you to Savory Spice with purchase now. So come by Franklin or L&L Market in Nashville and come see Holly and the entire crew at Savory Spice.
.529 Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, coming up during the Gang of Three, a message from Kamala Harris, a Christmas greeting from Kamala Harris. And I'm going to be honest with you, friends. It sounds like she's been sipping the eggnog already.
Well.
She sounds like she's hammered. Now, remind me. Nope, I can't do it now. I've got to do it at 5:35. So, because I want to be on time. But I want to talk a little bit about eggnog. Because I think I'm a little confused as to what exactly eggnog is. Because I guess we'll talk about it at 5:35. Do you remember the controversy? I think it was last year, Johnny, or the year before about me and eggnog?
Yes.
Okay, we'll talk about that.
I
coming
think
up.
it's been an annual thing, actually.
Of course it has. Thank you, as always, Johnny. Dan Mandis here, and I've been a Beehive member for years, so I can tell you from personal experience that this is the best HVAC company out there. Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. Now, how good are they? Every month, they have new ways to save you money. Now, they've decided to extend that massive special. They've got a limited number of 14 SEER, 1 and 1.5 to 3 ton split heat pumps for only $6,995. They're also offering a $69 mainline camera inspection to make sure that your drain pipes are cleaned out and in good condition. So many ways to save you money from Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. Christmas deals from Busy Bee, enough to warm your heart this holiday season. They are your Rude Pro partner, Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling, 615-775-7833, 615-775-7833, busybeehvac.com.
Good morning. It's 5:30, and I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. You'll want to bundle up and maybe start the car a little early this morning. We're in the teens, a lot of us 18 here outside of our studios. We've got the full forecast and traffic still to come. Well, police appear to be closing in on the identity of that man suspected of gunning down United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson in Manhattan on Wednesday morning. The NYPD has released clear images of the suspect, and they're hoping that that will lead to somebody identifying him.
They think he may have made too many mistakes to be a professional. At one point, he's seen at a Starbucks just before the shooting. He bought a water bottle and a couple of granola bars, leaving the wrappers behind. There was a cell phone that was left behind, and the authorities have linked that phone to the shooter. They believe it's his. Now, whether they've been able to get into it or not, we're not sure yet, but that would certainly be a key piece of evidence.
That's ABC's Aaron Katursky. Now, NBC News is reporting that investigators believe the killer traveled to New York City on a Greyhound bus from Atlanta 2 weeks ago. Insurance company Anthem Blue Cross Blue Shield is walking back their new policy that earned them a lot of negative attention.
Anthem Blue Cross Blue Shield is backing down after an uproar over its plan to limit coverage for anesthesia. The policy change called for the insurer to predetermine the time allowed for anesthesia care during a surgery or procedure and cover care only during that time. The policy change was set to take effect in 3 states, Missouri, New York, and Connecticut.
ABC's Rhiannon Alley. Anthem blamed the change on misinformation. Market Numbers Report brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com. No big changes on stock futures this morning. The Dow futures are down 57, NASDAQ futures minus 24. We've got S&P futures down 9 points. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather are next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Hey everybody, Dan Mandis from Nashville's Morning News. The Wall Street Journal reported a while ago that people are feeling stress, anxiety, and depression because of this election. If that's you, talk to my guy, Dr. Christopher Van Schenk. He is a psychiatrist out in Nolensville. Now, he can help you with not only depression, if you're feeling it because of politics or whatever, but he can also help you with alcoholism, drug abuse as well. Go to his website, nolensvillepsychiatry.com. He's got a long list of conditions that he can help you with, either in person or at telehealth. Bottom line is, he wants to make it as easy as possible for you to get the help that you need. He can help your kids as well. Check him out online. Again, nolensvillepsychiatry.com. The number's below. Thanks for listening, and good luck.
Just one spot that's got some trouble here this morning. It's in Hillwood on 40 eastbound lanes before Charlotte Parkway. That's exit 201. A crash reported there by police. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
5:36, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Good morning to you. Time for the Gang of Three. Joan's here. Good morning, Joan.
Well, hello there.
I'm Dan. Johnny's right there. Hello, Johnny.
Hello, everyone.
So we're talking just very briefly and very quickly we're talking about if you missed it, sorry, but we're talking about my run up to the weekend and how I, like to sort of work my way up with Amy to a very good weekend, if you know what I mean. And so we're talking about that a little bit. And Johnny, play the sound effect.
Oh no!
Somebody said that is Amy as the weekend approaches.
Oh no!
Oh no! That's Amy saying, "Oh no, not Dan again." Is it really Friday already?
Now you missed it. You were out of the studio, but when we had a little traffic, our compadre here started laughing when the commercial started.
Is it wrong to laugh over the commercials?
No, it really isn't. It adds to it.
What is it they expect us to do with these things?
Yeah,
because
do you know what I mean?
I mean, you cannot laugh at the. You cannot not laugh at that.
You can. It's very funny.
It is.
I think when they're producing these things, they do, again, clearly have to understand that wacky radio people like us cannot resist. You know what? To be perfectly honest, I'm surprised Johnny took us this long.
Me too.
Because that thing's been running for a long time.
Oh, it has. It's been several years now.
All right. So apparently, a couple of things. I do get confused over eggnog every single year, it would appear. Kamala Harris, Johnny, audio, please.
Yes, sir.
Kamala Harris had this to say to the National Black Caucus of State Legislators.
I knew y'all were in town. I couldn't let it go without coming by to say hello and to say thank you to everyone here, all of these extraordinary leaders. I wanted to come by and say happy holidays, Merry Christmas, happy Kwanzaa, happy Hanukkah, whatever you may celebrate. But most important, let's make sure we celebrate each other.
All right.
Man.
So number one, I believe that she does sound drunk, but the thing is she sounds like that all the time.
Sounds like she's at the VA in Johnson City.
She could be.
It might be.
Yeah.
Couple of things. Number one, anybody else find it interesting that she said, I heard you were here? That means that she wasn't invited.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
The National Black Caucus of State Legislators, they're in Washington, D.C., and they didn't invite Kamala Harris. And it's also funny because she says, let's celebrate each other. Kamala, nobody is celebrating you.
No.
Not a soul.
Not a soul. You gave the world, thank the Lord, but you gave the world 4 more years of Donald Trump.
Yes, you did.
You and Joe Biden.
Yes, you did. She sounds like she's celebrating. She sounded hammered.
She does. Now, eggnog. Joan, are you a fan of eggnog?
Well, yeah. Actually, my husband makes an incredible eggnog. He makes 2 versions of it.
Yeah?
One with brandy and one with Southern Comfort.
Okay, so I got confused a while ago because I don't drink eggnog. Like, I hate the stuff. I don't
really?
like it.
You don't like
I'm with you.
the store-bought, or you don't like that homemade kind? Because there's a big difference.
I don't know if I've ever had homemade eggnog.
Okay.
Maybe Amy has made it, but I've just never really been a fan. And I don't have that taste for alcohol as much. And so I'm not a eggnog fan.
Okay.
And but we got all wrapped around the axle one year because we couldn't figure out if eggnog. I said something about eggnog and people getting drunk on eggnog, and then people were like, Dan, there's no alcohol in eggnog. And I'm like, yeah, I thought that there was. So then it turns out, I went through this whole thing. Eggnog, you have eggnog with alcohol and without.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. So there you go. So I was like, right, but people are trying to convince me, not surprisingly, that I was wrong. Because I've learned that some people on the super text line are just evildoers.
They can get vicious on the super text
Oh, they
line.
sure can.
Yeah.
So I've just,
Well, they may have taken a nip themselves. I'll tell you what. I'll bring some eggnog in that my husband makes,
okay.
and we'll have a little tasting party here.
All right. You know what, Johnny, you in? Oh, can you do that, Johnny? You want to? Well, no,
I understand. I probably won't. Will
Okay.
not,
Joan, I will try the eggnog.
Okay.
And Joan, have you heard about my infamous whiskey incident?
I have not. I can't wait to hear it, though.
Just very briefly, because people may or may not know, but I'm not a whiskey fan.
Okay.
I think it's like trying to drink gasoline. And so Pamela Furr, our friend Pamela Furr, brought some in because she wanted me to try it, and I did, and I literally spit it out, like live on the air.
Wow.
So,
yeah, you did.
I sure did.
Wow.
Another fine moment in my career.
So if you don't drink whiskey and you don't drink eggnog and you don't have a taste for alcohol, do you drink? I mean, I saw you had an umbrella drink of some sort when you were in Florida.
Yes.
What umbrella
Rum.
drink?
Rum.
Okay.
If
He likes those fruity drinks.
Yes. The umbrella drinks. And
I see. Okay.
That's enough. Anyway, so yeah, that's what
I'm digging that your fly skull cap.
You like that?
Yeah.
I've been through not one, not two, for you folks watching on Supertext TV on the radio, just very briefly. I've gone through not one, not two, but like 3 costume changes so far in this radio broadcast. I'm like Barbara Streisand out on the stage. So I came in wearing a heavy jacket, took the jacket off. Now I've got my more traditional little, I don't know what you call this thing, but to keep me warm, I don't know. I call it my shawl, but I'm sure it's something else. Now I've got a skull cap on and I look badass.
You had a shawl and a skull cap.
Hey, by the way, I actually going back to the Kamala Harris message.
How dare we speak Merry Christmas?
How dare?
How dare we?
I actually like that one better.
Boy, that is. Boy, that
was when she was really angry.
That's
Remember that
fired
whole thing?
up. Yeah.
How dare we?
And I'm not sure.
She sounds like Greta Thunberg.
I was just thinking the same thing. We should play them back to back.
How dare you?
How dare you?
That's exactly right.
Boy, that poor kid. She
is messed up.
Boy, she really is.
Hey, can I
She gained a lot of weight, too.
She has, hasn't she?
Has she?
Yeah.
Yes.
Greta?
Oh,
Yep.
I didn't know that.
Greta's packed it on.
Yep.
It's probably all that processed food she's eating.
Probably.
So I'm concerned about the environment, yet she's eating processed food. Probably that food that she's eating comes in plastic. Anyway. Hey, can somebody tell me why is Donald Trump going on Meet the Press? Kirsten Welker, really? I saw that last night, and I'm like, are you kidding me?
It's frustrating. It's just frustrating. What is he doing going on these places that they don't like him? They're going to try to corner him, get him to say something that then they'll broadcast all over the place. I don't understand.
He always has done this, though.
Yes.
Well, but here's the thing, is that I don't care that they don't like him. Like, you always, if you're Donald Trump, you thrive going into enemy territory. What I don't understand is that he's going into a situation where he is sort of re-elevating the networks, the mainstream networks. Why would you re-elevate Meet the Press? Because this political election was one where they were made irrelevant. They were made absolutely irrelevant.
Yep.
Donald Trump decided, I'm not going to go on Meet the Press. I'm not going to go on you name the show, State of the Nation and all that stuff. No, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go on Joe Rogan. And I'm going to go on other podcasts as well. And he and J.D. Vance, they went on these podcasts. And I do believe that was a major, major impact on this election. So why would you re-elevate Meet the Press and Kirsten Welker? They are irrelevant.
Yep.
I don't get it.
I don't get it either.
Don't go on Morning Joe. Don't go on the,
You know what? Actually, Morning Joe might be interesting.
It'd be interesting, but I wouldn't do it.
Well, Kirsten Welker's just awful. I mean, she is just the awfulest of the awful.
She believes herself to be the bomb.
Yes, she does.
Yeah.
But also remember, it's NBC, right? NBC's Meet the Press.
Yes.
NBC had Harris on Saturday Night Live. Remember that whole thing? Last minute. And so they actually had to give Donald Trump equal time on NASCAR and football and all that.
Right.
Yes. So I don't know what he's trying to accomplish. Whatever. If this is what he wants to do, but I think that he's got the media right now. Donald Trump has Chuck Todd and Kirsten Welker and all these other places exactly where he wants them, which is in the trash bin of irrelevance. So he should not be going back on there because I don't think he needs to re-elevate them. Hey, fake or real Christmas trees? Joan, go.
Real. All real.
You're real?
Real all the time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Johnny?
Fake.
I'm a fake guy myself. I used to be real. I used to love real Christmas trees.
I did too.
But for me, I got tired of the needles. I got tired of, schlepping the thing out to the curb. And I'm not a fan. Hashtag not a fan.
Also, I noticed it would really aggravate my allergies.
Oh.
There is that too.
Yeah.
There is that. I had a cat.
That'll aggravate your allergies.
I had a cat that would crawl up the damn Christmas tree.
Oh yeah, they'll do it. Yeah.
Oh my! It was the most frustrating thing.
Yeah.
I don't yell at the cat as I was years ago. Why are you doing this? There's no reason for you to do that. Go outside and climb up those stupid trees.
And the cat looked at you and says, "Well, Dan.
Well, Dan.
I'm a cat. I climb things."
That's exactly right. I gave up.
Here's my only thing about the real Christmas trees. Every once in a while, they have spiders in them. And spiders freak me out.
I'll admit, they do me as well.
Yeah. You know what videos I love to watch the most online, like on Instagram and all?
Yeah.
Is when somebody sees a spider and they use a blowtorch to kill it. That is like, I feel them. I understand.
I know where you're coming from.
Yeah.
Wow.
I hate spiders.
I will stomp them until people will be going, okay, it's dead.
Hey, Johnny.
Yeah.
Which one of us is going to get the rubber spider and put it in the newsroom?
My kids do it all the time to me.
Do
so
they?
I am, yep. They would put them in the bed. Before I got into bed, they would put it in the bed so that they were really.
Man, that is.
Yeah. They love to get me with spiders.
That's cruelty right there.
So I went to bed last night and I woke up and Christmas had arrived in the Mandis household.
That's cool.
Amy had put up all the trees because I thought we were going to do it this weekend.
Yeah.
Amy had put up. This is what I love about Amy. She's amazing. One of many things. She got the Christmas trees. She put them up. We've got a total of 4. So we got one in the living room, the dining room. Riker's got a small one in his room. And we've also got one like upstairs. And the 5th one, which is the Charlie Brown Christmas tree that I have, I have that down in my basement studio, which I've got to put out. So, yeah, 5, all fake and gorgeous as ever. I posted a photos of them on the Dan Mandis Show Facebook page. So that's what I like to do is fake trees. And I think last year, there was like 1 year, I kid you not, guys, we had our trees up after Valentine's Day. That's how long we had our trees up. That's exactly right.
Because you were lazy and didn't take them down, or because you genuinely like them being up that long?
Joan, I'm busy. I don't know if you've noticed. I'm a busy man.
So, Johnny, we'll count that as lazy.
Oh, so you're like the guy in the trailer that leaves the lights on year round.
That's exactly right. So
I make my husband go out there. It's got to be like January 15th, they come down. We're not leaving them up there longer than that. I don't care how cold it is. Get the lights down.
Now, did you tell me that your husband likes tinsel?
He does.
Joan's husband, Johnny, likes tinsel.
It's something about, like, from his childhood.
Mm-hmm.
He loves to have tinsel.
I didn't even know they still did tinsel.
They do.
So he likes the Hallmark Channel.
Exactly.
And
yes.
tinsel.
He does. And he sets up his own, like the train platform. And we have trains that go through the house. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yep.
I like that.
Trains are cool.
Trains are cool.
Trains are absolutely cool.
We have real ones.
Real
Yeah,
trains?
we have trains behind our house. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Johnny's got it. You've never been over to Johnny's pad.
I have not.
He invited me over one time. Murphy's been over there like 17 times. And
he's been there twice.
And I'm going to age myself now. Did you ever see the I Love Lucy where Ricky and Lucy and Ethel and Fred are traveling to California, I think, and they're staying in like a cabin or something?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And the train would come behind the cabin and it would scare the living daylights out of them?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's the way it is in our house.
Yeah, that's the way it is in Johnny's house.
So it's close.
But we like it.
Yeah.
See, I love trains, so I'm at home. Some of the neighbors, they don't care for the trains.
Hey, you want to hear something that happened this morning? And then I got to go.
Go.
So I'm doing what I do in the morning. I'm sitting there. I'm cup of coffee is brewing. Amy comes out, and I love Riker so much. He does this thing where he hums, which is fine.
That's
no problem.
cute.
Yeah.
Oh, it's awesome.
He's up to something.
But last night I said to Amy, I heard Riker humming when I woke up. And she says, no way. He's asleep at midnight. Okay. So then this morning, I hear the humming again.
Yep.
And I'm like, I don't know what's going on, if that's like his TV, because he sleeps with the TV on. And so, but she and I both hear the humming. And he's humming loud. I'm like, do I go up there? Amy wakes up from a dead sleep, hears Riker humming. And she's like, do you hear that? And I said, there's no way he's awake at midnight. That's what you said, right? We go up there and we use the little thing to open up the door, the key thing, because he locked his door. 11-year-olds. And there's Riker, headphones on his laptop computer with the TV going at 12:15 in the morning.
Oh, my boy's in trouble.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
No wonder he wanted to lock.
And it was like, and I did usually like I'm the authoritarian in the house. Amy's like, I just took a step back because I knew what was coming. Young man, take those headphones off, close that computer, and she took away the laptop.
Good.
And then I said, take the remote too.
Good.
And she took the remote. She, go to bed.
Wow. Oh, no. Oh, no.
That was Riker. When we opened the door, man, that was Riker.
Oh, no.
I mean, it's very funny.
But I applaud you guys, though, for doing that, because a lot of parents wouldn't these days.
And you need to, change out that doorknob so that he can't lock his door.
Yeah.
Yes, that has been a constant source of conversation. And we have the little key thing. It's a tough conversation. How much privacy do you get as the kids go older?
Well, the way I've always looked at it, as I've told kids that I've lived with, if they talked about their privacy, I said, do you pay rent? Do you pay the house payment?
There you go.
No. Well, then you have no rights.
I like it. You can have all the privacy you want when you're 18 and out of the house.
Yes, exactly.
You own.
550. Listen, I told Amy we'll take the damn doorknob off. You know what my mom did one time? My mom and my dad, even though they were divorced, they got so mad at me and my brother one time. My mom and my dad hated each other. My dad shows up at our house one time. He was so mad that we were, disrespecting my mother, whatever we did. He came over with a drill thing, and he took our doors literally off the hinges.
All right, Dad.
I love it, man.
It was like, why is Dad here on a Thursday?
With a drill?
Yeah, with a drill. Zzz, zzz, and he took the doors off the hinges, and man, he was, and that was. We learned our lesson.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's a dad right
Yep,
there.
that's
All
right.
Gotta
That's
go.
right.
5:55. Joan, what's coming up?
We've got the latest on the shooting of the CEO, the insurance company CEO. Well, there's a couple of things that are happening that maybe police are getting closer to finding the killer. That's coming up at 6 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Good morning, 6 o'clock now, and I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. Yeah, we're still at 18 degrees, coldest air of the season settling in on us, and we've got more in the forecast still to come here. We've got new details in the search for the gunman who shot and killed the CEO of a major insurance company. Now, police have not revealed a motive for the shooting, but some experts believe that the evidence points to a grudge against United Health or the insurance industry as a whole. Former FBI special agent and ABC News contributor Brad Garrett says that the weapon used was unique and there aren't a lot of them out there.
It may be much easier to trace that weapon and who purchased it, presuming that the shooter is the one who actually purchased the weapon.
Now, NBC News is also reporting investigators believe the killer hopped on a Greyhound bus in Atlanta and arrived in New York City 2 days before the shooting. He stayed at a hostel the night before the killing. Other news, yet another bill from Tennessee lawmakers aimed at eliminating the state tax on groceries. And that's welcome news to some folks who spoke to Channel 4.
It just seems like it should not cost that much.
Eggs and bread is ridiculous. That is just ridiculous, honey. I may as well give me a farm and get my own eggs.
Republican Representative Elaine Davis from Knoxville introduced that bill that would allow individuals, counties to implement their own sales tax on groceries if approved by their local legislative body. Market Numbers Report brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com. Here's Jim Ryan.
Stocks closed lower Thursday, retreating from records the major indexes hit in the previous session. The Dow Jones gave up 248 points to close at 44,766. The S&P and Nasdaq Composite each slipped about 0.2%. Investors anticipate that today's employment report will shape the Federal Reserve's decision on interest rates next week. Economists expect the number of jobs created last month to come in at 214,000 compared to just 12,000 in October. Ulta Beauty beat analysts' expectations, boosting its full-year outlook despite rising competition and cooling demand for makeup and skincare items. Ulta shares rose more than 10% in after-hours trading. Those carnitas at Chipotle will be getting a little pricier. The fast casual chain says avocados and dairy and other food items are getting more expensive. Chipotle says it would rather raise menu prices than skimp on portion sizes.
Stock futures are down just a tad this morning. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather are next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. In Joelton, it's a crash on 24 eastbound lanes just before Whites Creek Pike. That's exit 35. And then a crash as well in Bordeaux, Briley Parkway northbound at the on-ramp from Centennial Boulevard, exit 26. That on-ramp, by the way, is blocked. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Information fueled, opinion driven. This is Nashville's Morning News with Dan Mandis.
And so, my fellow Americans,
we talk news.
6:07 Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. And welcome on into a Friday. Hope you're doing well, along with Joan Jones, Johnny B, Dan Mandis here. And I think Bill Maher, I like Bill Maher. He says some really stupid stuff, but at least he's willing to call out his own party. And he had a segment, I don't really know when he airs, but he had a segment, I saw it online. And he's got Donna Brazile, and they're talking about pre-hating Donald Trump and pre-hating what he wants to do. And I like what Bill Maher says, which is, I'm not going to pre-hate anything.
The country does need disrupting. I mean, the country needs a colonic and a slap in the face so bad. This is not who I would choose to administer the colonic. But it's not like the bureaucracy isn't bloated. It's not like the debt isn't $36 trillion. It's not like there aren't thousands of regulations that do stop people from living lives that they could live better and don't do anything. There is woke in the military, whatever they're going after. I'm not saying there isn't and I'm not going to pre-hate anything.
Now at this point, when Bill Maher says, I'm not going to pre-hate anything, they go to Donna Brazile, who looks like somebody just farted in the elevator she's in. I mean, it's like you can tell that Donna Brazile is just hating everything that Bill Maher is saying.
Do I have really good, optimistic feelings about it? No, I don't. But I'm just not going to pre-hate. I can't get into that mind go. Let's see what the disruptors can do, because quite frankly, the experts have just sort of like let something go for so long.
I mean, he's absolutely right. Bill Maher is absolutely right. And that's part of what's going on right now. I mean, there's a lot happening in Washington, D.C. Here this week, Joe Biden is out there saying we're going to send another $725 million to Ukraine. You've got Antony Blinken. Did you see it in the news? Just real quick. Antony Blinken is now out there saying, well, in Ukraine, now this is our Secretary of State, is telling Zelensky and Ukraine that they need to start basically drafting 18 to 25-year-olds in Ukraine, because in Ukraine you start fighting. It used to be at like the age of 27. I guess they've lowered that now to 25. And Antony Blinken is saying, oh, no. You've got to get your teenagers into the war with Russia, an unwinnable war. That is our Secretary of State. So you've got Joe Biden sending, another almost $1 billion to Ukraine. You've got our Secretary of State basically telling Zelensky, well, now that we've gone ahead and killed all of your, mid-20 to 30-something males in Ukraine, let's now go and get all of the, teenagers killed, the 18 to 19 to 24, 25-year-olds. Let's go ahead and get all of them killed. So, yeah, we've got a lot of problems in this country. Bill Maher, he just skimmed the surface of the problems in this country. Yet now you have the media and you have the Democrats, and yes, you have some Republicans as well, and they are absolutely freaking out over Kash Patel.
How dangerous might this be?
Kash Patel, who's a total bomb thrower. I suppose if we still had the ability to be shocked, it's shocking.
Who is this man, and why did so many top officials fear him?
There have been some concerns voiced by John Bolton.
He believes in nothing except serving Donald Trump.
He goes on and on and on.
Known for his extreme rhetoric.
Patel has promised to go after journalists, among others, and more or less dismantle the agency.
Extremely dangerous.
The most dangerous nominee that we've seen yet to our democracy.
I think he's not a distraction. I think this is actually one of the dangerous ones that we need to be paying attention to.
It's dangerous to put someone like this in charge.
People called Patel dangerous.
And dangerous seems to be, because you know how it's always bizarre when you see all of the talking heads on the left and theoretically on the right too, and they always seem to use the same words, right? Kash Patel, you heard them say maybe at least a dozen times, probably more, that he is dangerous. He's a Trump loyalist. He's going to dismantle the FBI. He is unqualified. And the last one, he's going to go after journalists. Now, he is qualified. I don't need to go through all that again. I've done it twice. Kash Patel is qualified to not only lead the FBI, but also make the changes necessary so that the FBI can regain the trust of the American people. So he is qualified. He is loyal to Donald Trump, and that's not a bad thing. And he says that he will go after people who went after Donald Trump, like journalists. That is what he has actually said. I'm going to play you the audio because there might be some gray area in here for some of you folks. This is what Kash Patel has said. Donald Trump's choice to lead the FBI. This is what he said about going after folks in the media.
We will go out and find the conspirators, not just in government, but in the media. Yes, we're going to come after the people in the media who lied about American citizens, who helped Joe Biden rig presidential elections. We're going to come after you. Whether it's criminally or civilly, we'll figure that out. But yeah, we're putting you all on notice. And this is why they hate us. This is why we're tyrannical. This is why we're dictators, because we're actually going to use the Constitution to prosecute them for crimes they said we have always been guilty of, but never have.
So we know the media has lied about Donald Trump constantly. We know the media has lied about Donald Trump supporters constantly. Specifically, we could talk about Russian collusion. That is one of the big ones, calling Trump Hitler and all of us Nazis and so forth, lying about this Project 2025 as being part of Donald Trump's official agenda when everybody knows in the media, everybody knew that Project 2025 was not Donald Trump's official agenda. So the media has been lying about Donald Trump in an effort to influence the election. Coverage of Donald Trump was and remains and still is incredibly caustic. But should members of the media be criminally prosecuted? That's what Kash Patel is saying, that he wants to go after members of the media and civilly, criminally, whatever, but that's what he wants to do.
We're going to come after the people in the media who lied about American citizens, who helped Joe Biden rig presidential elections. We're going to come after you. Whether it's criminally or civilly, we'll figure that out. We're actually going to use the Constitution to prosecute them for crimes they said we have always been guilty of, but never have.
All right. So I think that does open up. I'm just going to tell you that does open up a bit of a can of worms. We're going to talk about that straight ahead on Super Talk 6:15. Time to check the roads. Thank you, Jay. 18 degrees right now. Sunny today. Eventually, it's going to get to 37. Sunny on Saturday, a high of 52. Cloudy on Sunday, and a high of 58 degrees. Appreciate you listening to Nashville's Morning News. So Kash Patel says, civilly or criminally, we're going to go after, as head of the FBI, we are going to go after journalists who have been lying about Trump and his supporters. And I have a question. This obviously has to be, and I'm a supporter of Donald Trump, and I'm a supporter of Kash Patel, but I kind of want to hash this out. This has to be obviously a case-by-case basis, because if you know that a member of the media lied about Donald Trump, knowingly lied about facts, not opinion on those facts, but knowingly lied about facts, and they did it knowingly, then do you go after them from a legal standpoint? If so, your lawyers are going to be very busy because MSNBC, CNN, the networks as well. I mean, I could go on and on. Project 2025, Donald Trump said incessantly, his surrogates always kept saying, that is not part of Trump's agenda, but the networks and some of those folks over there on MSNBC and so forth, they kept saying that it was. And so do you go after them for trying to influence an election? Because that's what he's trying to do. We do have freedom of speech in this country, but when somebody is clearly lying, continues to lie, it's obvious they're lying, and everybody knows that they're lying, then what do you charge them with? Do you charge them with trying to influence an election? Civilly, slander, libel? Because remember that if Kash Patel does this, then the precedent will be set that when it's the Democrats in charge, they'll start going after the likes of Tucker Carlson, Joe Rogan, Sean Hannity, and whoever else. And they'll make up a reason why, because they always do. So I'd like an example, I think, and we actually have one in the news today. Olivia Troy is a commentator. She's very left-wing. She poses as a conservative, but she's left-wing, who hates Donald Trump, hates Kash Patel, and Kash is now threatening to sue her for comments that she made about him, Kash Patel. She was a Homeland Security advisor for Mike Pence, and when she and Kash worked together under Donald Trump in the first term, this is what she said about working with Kash Patel.
Kash Patel is a delusional liar. Let me just be very clear about that. And he would lie about intelligence. He would lie about making things up on operations. I think Mark Esper has talked about that as well, where he put the lives of Navy SEALs at risk in an operation when it came to Nigeria. These are things that actually were happening in real time when he was in the role of CT coordinator in the White House. And I know this because at some point I realized that I needed to double check Kash's work to make sure that I wasn't misinforming Mike Pence by relying on his word. So I had to go around him.
So she calls Kash Patel a delusional liar, criticizing his work and, frankly, his character. And she goes on the record. So Kash got his lawyers, this is what's in the news today, Kash got his lawyers to go after her, legally demanding a retraction. Now, obviously, you can get lawyers to do any darn thing you want, and so that is what Kash is doing, is he is demanding a retraction. Because if you think about it, she is being very specific. Kash Patel, this is from the AP. Kash Patel has threatened to sue former Mike Pence aide Olivia Troy for calling him a liar on MSNBC. Donald Trump's FBI pick demanded a retraction after Troy, a former White House Homeland Security and counterterrorism advisor in the Trump administration, said that he would lie about intelligence and put the lives of Navy SEALs at risk when it came to Nigeria. So that is a very specific charge. And if she knows that she is lying, then she could face some sort of litigation. Troy also branded Patel, again, a delusional liar in the MSNBC segment. They say Kash Patel's lawyers say this is a complete fabrication, and you know it. You know that it is false by virtue of your former position in the White House, says Jesse Banal, Patel's attorney, writing in a legal letter. She says, they say at no point did Mr. Patel ever lie about national intelligence, place Navy SEALs at risk, or misinform the vice president. Not only did you have actual knowledge of the falsity of this smear, but you also did so with the malicious intent, there's the legalese, the malicious intent of degrading his character and of cynical self-promotion, says Banal, adding that legal action would be launched if the remarks were not retracted in a public statement within 5 days. So here's the deal. If Kash Patel and his lawyers can prove that she is knowingly lying about what he did and she went on television and knowingly told lies, that's different than just somebody randomly saying that he is dangerous, because she's getting very specific. So of all the criticism that is out there about Kash Patel in the media, he is specifically going after her because she is specific in this one allegation about him. Now, for Victoria Troy, she says, I'm not going to back down.
Yeah, I think it's a very clear sign of what's to come should he become the director of the FBI and how he's going to conduct himself. I mean, we should take him at his word. These are things that he has threatened in the past. And I think by doing what he did, by sending that letter to me, it was an attempt to bully me, silence me, intimidate me. But it's also a signal to others, right, as he goes into the confirmation process of trying to silence others in terms of telling the truth about his background. I mean, look, I am a person who believes that he is unfit for the role of FBI director, and I have concerns about how he will behave in the role in leading the nation's premier law enforcement agency.
And so you stand by your criticism of Kash Patel?
I absolutely do.
Even if they have this letter saying you've got to retract all this, you're not going to do that?
Yeah, I'm not going to retract from telling the truth.
All right, so there you go. That could be a legal battle, and that's going to be interesting, too. Because, again, we do have a freedom of the press. in this country. We do have freedom of speech as well, obviously. And Cash is saying she has that, but she is lying about this one specific piece of information, and she's knowingly lying about that. And so, again, I don't know if he wants to go after her for slander or what, but this is going to be very interesting to watch because we all know the argument over alternative facts, right? Where some people will say, well, you know, their take on a story is this, somebody else's take on the same exact story can be completely different. And so you can say, well, you're lying about that. It's like, no, this is why I feel like I'm telling the truth. So this is going to be interesting. I'm going to be watching this case. And again, I'm a big fan of Cash Patel. So this is going to be fascinating to see how the whole thing plays out. 6:23. Running a little late. Joan Jones, what is coming up in the news?
Well, Pete Hegseth doing the math, and is he getting the votes he needs to get confirmed? Also, Elon and Vivek lay out their plans to cut government waste. Those stories at 6:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
So let's see, if you are a federal employee, then you better get ready to start going back to work.
Quaking in your boots.
That's exact. They are, man, the hue and cry. Well, Joan, you worked in Washington, D.C. for a long time. You know, all of those buildings, those federally owned buildings, they've been empty since COVID.
They have. And there's an attitude among the workers, the government workers, about they feel like they're owed that time to be at home, working from home. The government owes them that. And they are protective about it. They believe that they should be home. They shouldn't have to go into work. Like you and I do.
Yep, and Joe Biden, of course, he is now, if I'm right on this, he worked a deal with the unions to protect them from having to go back into the office. So Joe Biden seems to be poisoning the wells now, and so it's going to be interesting to see how that whole thing plays out. But listen, if the chief executive like Donald Trump tells you to go back to work and go back to the office, because frankly, there's already a question about the productivity of federal employees. There's already accusations and clear evidence, in my opinion, that the federal government is absolutely bloated. And so step one, getting everybody back in the office. Step two, making sure that they are as productive as they should be. And then step three is deciding how many of these federal employees do we really need.
Yeah.
Yes, it is 6:25 on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Did you know you're overpaying for your health and wellness products?
With over 20 company-owned brands offering its members vitamins, supplements, wellness, and skincare products, you're able to save up to 70% off retail.
Members Nutrition can't change your life, but we can change the way you live.
Good morning. It's now 6:30. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. We've got your forecast and traffic still to come. Well, Pete Hegseth spent the day on Capitol Hill again yesterday, meeting with senators to shore up support for his nomination as the head of the Department of Defense. Hegseth's team has reportedly told Donald Trump they think Hegseth may prevail because they haven't found 3 Republican senators who are hard no votes. But ABC's Catherine Falder says she's done the math, too, and she comes up with a different answer.
There are 9 women Republican senators serving in the Senate. Through my reporting, I know that those senators are the ones that Donald Trump's orbit are the most worried about. Now, remember, he can only afford to lose about 3 senators. ABC caught up yesterday with all 9 of these women, and only 2 of them have publicly said that they would support Hegseth.
And Tennessee's Marsha Blackburn is one of those who said she will support him. Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy traveled to Capitol Hill yesterday to give a preview to some in Congress about their plans. Here's ABC's Nicole D'Antonio.
Lawmakers reportedly discussing a variety of cuts targeting the education department, redundancy in the government workforce, and government employees working from home. The department Musk and Ramaswamy will lead will not be a true government department. It will only provide recommendations for the administration and Congress, which has the power of the purse.
Reports say that Musk and Ramaswamy told lawmakers that they would keep a naughty and nice list of those who join the budget slashing proposals and those who don't. Market Numbers Report brought to you by Beacon Capital Management online at beaconcm.com. The jobs report for last month is expected just in a couple of moments here. And ahead of that report, the Dow futures are down 25, NASDAQ futures plus 7 now. And the S&P 500 index, those futures down 2 points. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather are next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Thank you, Joan. Dan Mandis here. Now is the time to call my friends at Cove Generators. Listen, can you imagine your power going out right about now, 18 degrees? What would you do if your heater went out? Well, if you had a backup home standby generator from Cove Generators, that would kick your power right back on and your family would stay warm. Yes, it's freezing out right now. And yeah, sometimes power does go out. They can make sure, Cove Generators can make sure that your power does stay on with one of their incredible backup home standby generators. Now, they've got a great deal going on. They are going to offer you a free 10-year warranty. That is well over $1,000 value. Plus, at Cove Generators, they've always got great financing options as well. Now, they are your premier Generac home standby generator dealer in the state of Tennessee. So, yes, be prepared for the next power outage and call these folks today. Never lose power again, especially on a day like today. 931-559-3311. Tell them Dan Mandis told you to reach out. 931-559-3311. Call them. They're going to answer all the questions you may have. By the way, they can also service your Generac automatic standby generator or any brand of generator that you own. 931-559-3311, covegenerators.com.
Watch it, 24 westbound lanes traveling through Antioch this morning. There is a crash. It's under Hickory Hollow Parkway, exit 60, and the HOV lane is blocked there. That'll cause a lot of slowdown. Also in Jolton to 24, the eastbound side before Whites Creek, that's a crash. And the on-ramp crash in Bordeaux. It's on Briley Parkway, northbound, the on-ramp from Centennial Boulevard, exit 26. That crash has the on-ramp blocked off. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
I do everything from scrubbing cages to asking people for donations to answering the phones and helping facilitate getting animals to the rehab. I'm there on the weekends, up there taking care of animals with the team.
You got a great team there. It's a small team, but a great team that works together. And
I started about 20 years ago. My dear friend Carol Burgess founded Harmony in Fairview.
Okay.
And we decided to reopen it in West Nashville. And we are rocking along. Lots of animals. One of the primary calls that we get are, I found a bird, it's on the ground, what do I do? And in most situations, you should let it alone unless there's an imminent danger to that animal, because the parents are helping it and feeding it, and it just needs a couple of scary days on the ground until it gets back up into flight. What about bunnies, Melody? Can we give advice about bunnies?
The bunnies, they're just the sweetest, most innocent creatures, and we just see the worst things happen to them. Cats, dogs, lawnmowers, weed whackers.
In most cases, if the animals aren't injured, if you can put the rabbits back, that's always better to be with the mother rabbit than to come to us.
All the storms that have been coming through and just destroying nests, and a lot of babies will be found on the ground. Re-nesting is possible and preferable.
You play the video calls and you put the baby near where they found it, and the mama will actually come down and pick it up and then bring it back.
Oh, nice.
Isn't that cool?
Nice.
.639 Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Been some debate on this radio station and across the city as to whether or not the Metro City Council should approve to integrate public and private cameras and their data so that police have access to it. And basically this program, it's Fusus, I guess. What it does, it'll funnel all of the information, all of that data into one place so that the police can look at it. And again, this is for, crime fighting, obviously, and they would combine public and private cameras. And so I want to welcome on into the program Courtney Johnson from Metro City Council. Courtney, always great to have you on. Let's talk about this, because to me, and there's a lot of people that disagree with me on this, and so I want to sort of get right to this. This is strictly for crime fighting, and these cameras are integrated into existing cameras, both private and public sector. And so it basically funnels all of that information into, it seems to me, almost kind of like an operations center, so that you have access to all of the cameras, all of the data, or as much as you can across the city. But you're asking the permission of those who have the cameras, whether it's, somebody's Ring camera at home or a business in downtown Nashville.
So I'm going to correct you on several things right
Go
off
ahead.
the bat, Dan. So it does not funnel data anywhere. Fusus does not hold data at all. Fusus does a multitude of things. We currently use it for a multitude of things. What we are contemplating is where private camera owners, not homes, not your home Ring doorbell camera.
Oh, okay.
That is not part of this. It does not have, it doesn't even have the ability to do that at this point, but that's certainly not being contemplated. We're talking about the cameras at Kroger, the cameras at the CVS, the cameras at the gas station. These are public places, commercial. So it's privately owned because it's a private business. So when people hear private cameras, they think, oh God, that's my house. No, it's privately owned business commercial cameras.
Got it.
And so it allows access if that camera owner allows that, if a call for service comes in. So a live stream of data from all these cameras that are existing, by the way, we're not adding cameras. These are cameras that are already out there. So if you have some type of expectation of privacy anywhere once you leave your home, that is a false sense of security because no matter where you are, I can guarantee you are on camera somewhere, even if you're getting your nails done, right?
Yep.
So these are not adding cameras, but what it does give the police the ability to do is that if there is a call for service, if, let's say, the gas station is being held up and that gas station or an area business somewhere around there has cameras there, they can pull those cameras up if they've been given access and see exactly what's going on at that time. If they pull any of that footage, it is evidentiary. So it's not just a constant, like I said, live stream data that's just going in and being held constantly. It's just not that.
Right.
So what it allows the police to do is expedite their investigations because, as we know, when something happens, the police department, the first thing they do is start going around knocking on doors, not asking area businesses, hey, there was something that happened here. Do you have cameras? Did you see anything? It expedites that, but it can also help with when they are responding to those call for services live. So let's say there's an active shooter there at the gas station or wherever this is happening. They can pull up those cameras and be able to tell those responding officers, hey, he ran around back, or this is where he is in the store, all that kind of stuff. So it's just an integration software. It does not hold data. So if somebody was to come in and, quote unquote, break into the system and access all this data, there's nothing to access. And so there's just been a lot of false narratives around this.
Okay, so there's no data being held, there's no data being stored. The data is being, I guess, integrated and funneled so that if something happens, then the police have instant access to what is going on right now, but that, again, that data is not being recorded or stored.
Correct. And when that camera system is accessed in response to a call for service, that camera owner is notified. Hey, we accessed your camera. We pulled this, timestamp of data. So they know exactly when their system was accessed. They know what was taken, if anything was taken for evidentiary purposes. And so if there is ever anything where a business owner says, gosh, I really don't feel comfortable with that, they can immediately pull that access if there's that. But there's a level of it's not just, hey, sure, you can access my cameras. They have to invest in this. There is a software or hardware that they have to purchase. These business owners have to purchase that allows Fusus to integrate their system, because everybody's got different types of systems. And so it allows that. So not only have they allowed MNPD access, should we need it to respond to a call for service, but they're also investing in that. And from their perspective, I believe they think that they are investing in public safety.
Right.
And that's exactly what I believe as well.
So when you look at all of the concerns about this, because there are people that have concerns, there are similar programs in Atlanta, Georgia, in Lexington, Kentucky, and some other places as well. I thought it was interesting how the ACLU and the NAACP, they spoke with the folks in Lexington, the authorities in Lexington, about their concerns. I'm going to get to what happened coming up next. Courtney Johnson is joining us on Super Talk 99.7. Time to check the roads. Think of Jay, sunny today, a high of 37. Right now, 17 degrees at Super Talk 99.7. WTN Courtney Johnson joining us from Metro Nashville City Council, talking about Fusus integrating public and private cameras to fight crime. So a lot of people, you're going to have some people on the left are going to say, well, no, because we hear the usual hue and cry about how this is targeting, black or minority communities. And so you have that problem on that side. And then you have some people that have, privacy concerns. And so the ACLU and the NAACP actually worked with the folks in Lexington as Lexington was integrating this into their cameras and that system there. And both say that the folks in Lexington actually took their input into consideration as they made these implementations.
Yeah, so Nashville, in our code of laws, we already have governance around surveillance in public spaces. And the ACLU has actually put their stamp of approval on those limitations. It's a transparent process, but it limits. It's very, very prohibitive, and it limits a lot of things. So for the ACLU to come in and say, hey, so we're starting at a different baseline is my point. I don't know where Lexington started, but we have a very broad limit on surveillance tools. And so if the ACLU has already done that, I'm happy to talk to anybody and everybody. In fact, when I was drafting the policy around license plate readers 3 or 4 years ago when I started that process, I went straight to the ACLU, and in fact, the policy is based off of ACLU's policy that they created, and yet they helped me write it, and they still came out against it. So it does, if the purpose is to try to get the ACLU or the NAACP to say, sure, let's do this, I am going to put money on it that would still never happen. The fact of the matter is that we are already governed by Metro Code of Laws in the areas of surveillance in our public spaces, and it is very, very limited. In
reading all of this, the word surveillance was used, multiple times, obviously. And that is a trigger for a lot of people that they don't like that word surveillance. There was somebody somewhere had said something about on this station when this came up yesterday about how this would be used to track down illegal aliens and, those kinds of things. Is there any discussion about trying to use this to track down illegal aliens?
I just don't know how that would. So when you pull up a camera and you see something, and they can only pull it up when there's a call for service. So if there's a crime being committed, I don't care what your immigration status is. If you're committing a crime, you need to be brought to justice. But let's just say they pull up a camera. Do you have your immigration status, planted on your forehead? All of these narratives are false and fear-mongering. Mm-hmm. That's just not what this is used for. We had someone stand up and say that it would be used to persecute transgender, and I learned apparently that it's illegal to be a transgender, which for a council member to stand up and say that, that it's criminal for her to be dressed as it's just nonsense. Yeah. It's nonsense. This is a tool. We do not have enough, I cannot say this any more plainly. We do not have enough officers to handle the number of calls for service and our growing population and all of the challenges that come with the growing population. And I don't know that we ever will in our lifetime. We are hundreds of officers short. And so as we progress into the future, we are going to have to rely on technology to make up for that, to help these officers that are running towards the danger when everyone else is running away from it, to help them do their job more efficiently and effectively. And until we start taking that responsibility as a council member and as a government, until we start taking that seriously, we are going to continue to see crime rates increase. And what happens when crime rates increase, Dan?
Bad things happen.
Bad things happen, right?
Yes,
and it's a domino effect where people are not going to want to come here anymore.
Well, all you got to do, Courtney, is look at Chicago, and there's debate here. Obviously, you're going to have some people that they will always complain about how you've got soft on crime Democrats, but then when you want to use technology to fight crime, people have a problem with that. And just so folks know, and this is not directed at you, Courtney, but government, generally speaking, hasn't done a whole lot to earn the trust of the American people. And so that's part of the longer, broader conversation about all of this. Joan's got a question for you, by the way, Courtney. Go ahead, Joan.
Yeah, Courtney, this is Joan. I just, building on what you had said about the unfounded fears, there was one woman who spoke about the government possibly tracing people who are pregnant, leaving the state to go have abortions somewhere else. Which I can't see that as being possible either. But it brought up the question for me about whether or not these cameras, this surveillance system, has some kind of facial recognition technology that would allow police to, use their facial features to identify who they are.
Absolutely not. It does not have that, and we prohibited it in the code. So that was one of the amendments that we put onto it. Even though it's not used for that, we don't have facial recognition. We don't intend to use facial recognition. That's not the point. That's not the point of what this integration software is used for. But so no, facial recognition is not being contemplated at all.
So the bottom line, the point here is, as we run out of time, the bottom line point here is that if a crime happens, you guys, and the police are asking for this, by the way, Metro Police are asking for this. Crime happens, and you're looking for a suspect. You want access to these cameras. You've gone to businesses and said, we would like access to your cameras so that we can see exactly what happened and try and find the perpetrator to keep people safe. That is what the Metro Council is looking to vote on.
Absolutely. And when we see it right now, it's being played out right now, where the United Healthcare CEO was murdered. What did they use to look for that suspect? Camera footage. Riley Strain, how did we know where he possibly, cameras. Yeah. Every time a crime happens, we go and look, where's the cameras? Where can we see what happened so that we can figure out how to solve this crime or figure out how to locate this person? That's what this is for. It's expediting that process. And literally that is it. So we've got a group of people on our Metro Council that do not support the police. They are never going to support the police. It doesn't matter how you amend these things to make it more whatever they're looking for. It does not matter. They are going to vote against it. They don't support the police department. They don't like them.
Right.
And it's a problem. And I want to just say, I know we're running out of time, but I got an email yesterday that really bothered me when this lady was very upset that FUSIS failed. And it says the council and the MNPD should not be enemies. Nashvillians should not have to worry that their elected officials are not on the same team as the people we hire to keep us safe. If that is, I cannot sum it up any better than that.
All right, Courtney, thank you very much for joining us as always, clearing up some of the facts about FUSIS. A lot of people upset about it, a lot of people angry about it. It is interesting that the complaints are coming from two different sides, right? You do have the NAACP and people like that, organizations like that have in the past complained about this kind of a thing and said, well, it's targeting the black communities. Then you have on the other side people that are saying that it is a violation of civil rights and privacy and all that. And I could do an hour-long monologue on this, and maybe I will a little bit later. But at least to me, I'm just going to tell you, and I know that I'm going to be attacked by some of you folks, I understand your concerns. I don't trust the government either, but I like this because it will work to keep our community safe, and I do believe it's a great idea. 6:55, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Joan, let the hate begin.
Absolutely.
People are going to get mad at me because I said I like the idea. I do. I like the idea. I'm all about, I understand, I don't trust the government either, but the way that Courtney laid it out, it makes a lot of sense to me. So there you have it.
Certainly looks differently when you see it through her lens.
Exactly. Yeah. 6:55. Joan was coming up.
How a flirtatious moment may have done in the United Healthcare CEO killer. We've got that story coming up 7 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
The guaranteed offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lock boxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
Good morning, 7:03 now. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. New details in the search for the gunman who shot and killed the CEO of a major insurance company. Law enforcement sources are saying images of the suspect's unmasked face were captured days earlier because he was flirting with a woman. Here's ABC's Andrew Dimbert.
It was a brief, flirtatious moment, but it could help catch an accused killer. Police say the images show the face of the man accused of gunning down United Health Insurance CEO Brian Thompson. They say a woman checking in the suspect at a New York City hostel asked to see his smile. The suspected shooter then pulled down his mask just long enough for the surveillance camera to capture his face. Police now receiving a flood of tips as their manhunt enters a third day.
Still, that still shot photo is front page on every newspaper and news website in the nation, and investigators believe somebody will identify that man. Another one of those stories about 100 former national security officials signing a letter. This time, the letter criticizes former Congresswoman Tulsi Gabbard's nomination for Director of National Intelligence. The signers call into question her ability, they say in this letter, to deliver unbiased intelligence briefings. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather are next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. Couple of spots on 24 in the eastbound lanes in Joelton. There's a crash before White's Creek Pike. That's exit 35, and it's slow going from New Hope Road up to that spot. Also in Antioch on 24, the westbound lanes at under Old Hickory Hollow Parkway, exit 60. It's a crash, and the right shoulder is blocked. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Hey everybody, Dan Mandis from Nashville's Morning News. The Wall Street Journal reported a while ago that people are feeling stress, anxiety, and depression because of this election. If that's you, talk to my guy, Dr. Christopher Van Schenk. He is a psychiatrist out in Nolensville. Now, he can help you with not only depression, if you're feeling it because of politics or whatever, but he can also help you with alcoholism, drug abuse as well. Go to his website, nolensvillepsychiatry.com. He's got a long list of conditions that he can help you with, either in person or at telehealth. Bottom line is, he wants to make it as easy as possible for you to get the help that you need. He can help your kids as well. Check him out online. Again, nolensvillepsychiatry.com. The number's below. Thanks for listening, and good luck.
Information fueled, opinion driven. This is Nashville's Morning News with Dan Mandis.
And so, my fellow Americans,
we talk news.
708 Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Welcome on into a Friday. So there's a few things going on here, Joan and Johnny, with the killing of this Brian Thompson, United Healthcare CEO. Number one, they're looking for the gunman. But number two is there is, and it's part of the storyline, so many people are celebrating this guy's murder.
It's disgusting.
It's a little, it's just, I don't like that. I mean, look, I understand. Number one, keyboard warriors, right? It's really easy to do stuff when you're on the keyboard and you can say on X and whatever. But there truly are people that are celebrating this guy's murder, Brian Thompson, because, and we talked about this quite a bit yesterday, because of United Healthcare and the fact that they deny or delay coverage for the people that use their insurance. And so, I mean, we don't know what the motive is as of yet, but one of the big theories going around, and I believe this theory, is that this is somebody who was angry, who was pushed to the limit because either him or a family member or a loved one, whatever, was denied coverage. And we talked about yesterday, the bullet casings said deny and delay. And so I think that there's one other word, and I can't remember what it was. Depose. So I think that there's, but as I said yesterday ad nauseum, no one deserves to be murdered. And so I do find the celebration online a little unseemly.
The biggest, the one that's getting the most attention, and because she's a lightning rod, is Taylor Lorenz, who, has been known as being, I mean, she's a lightning rod. She's done horrible things. She's said horrible things, especially about conservatives, doxing them, revealing their addresses, their home addresses, things like that.
Yeah.
She said online yesterday, health insurance is terrible, she said, and people wonder why we want these executives dead. That was what she said.
Wow.
And she's unapologetic about it. But she's not the only one.
No. I mean, I was talking to somebody yesterday, and, he said, you know what? You understand why people are murdered.
Good Lord.
Yeah, it was like, no, I don't understand it. I mean, I understand the frustration with insurance companies, but we can't run around, killing people.
No, I mean, there's plenty in government and of course, in the medical field to be upset about. And there are people that I vehemently disagree with, but I don't want to see anybody hurt or murdered. I mean, and people that want this or that find joy in it, you need to seek some therapy quickly.
Here's another comment. The father of 2 boys deserved to die. The important thing about the killing is that no people were hurt.
Good gosh.
Yeah. And there were actually a bunch of people on, it was either Reddit or one of those types of sites, that they were trying to figure out who would play him in the movie. Who would play?
Oh, my Lord.
Yeah, Brian.
It turned out, Brian Thompson, it turned out he was just some of the information that I know. It turned out that he has not been living with his wife. They're separated, it would seem. And so that was part of the coverage as well. There's a lot to this, and there's a lot to this guy. I mean, we went through some of the accusations yesterday. He's accused of selling off his stock illegally before news of an investigation was made public. So you've got the insider trading stuff. You do have the fact that United is the most, the healthcare provider that denies the most people coverage or benefits and so forth. And so, there's a lot of people that are really angry. And I'm here to tell you that in my family and some people that I have known, they have been driven to the brink of just, I mean, I don't even know how to describe that kind of despair over dealing with insurance companies.
Yes.
And so I get it.
And healthcare costs. I mean,
healthcare costs.
I've seen people that have been dealing with cancer, and what it does to them financially.
0231. What if it was your kid that was denied coverage? He says, I'm not condoning, but what if it was your kid that was denied coverage? Let's say, I mean, we hear this stuff all the time.
Yes, we do.
What do you mean it's not covered? You have whatever disease or condition you have, and, your healthcare provider, even though you can completely and easily justify it in your own mind, they say, well, no, that's not covered. And there's no rhyme or reason. And then if you do get something covered, then they bury you in medical bills, and you don't know what this stuff is for. You can't get through it to anybody. Nobody will explain to you, why it is that you're being charged for something, or, something that you didn't have done, procedure or whatever. I mean, you see these things all the time. I knew somebody, I kid you not, I knew somebody whose kid had cancer, and the hospital, the insurance provider, something happened where they were charged for C-section. It was the damnedest thing. Yeah, it's crazy. So, I mean, and I don't know where they fell down on that, but you see these kinds of things all the time where you could justify in your own mind that absolutely this should be covered, and they just won't. It seems to me like the insurance companies, I don't think I'm over my skis on this. It's like the insurance companies, they want to charge you as much money as they possibly can, but give you the least amount of coverage or benefit.
So my daughter has a condition, a blood condition. And when she was tested for it, it was a genetic test that we needed to have done. And they're very expensive. So they tested her for the genetic condition that they knew she had. They assumed she had because, others in the family have it as well. But the doctor also tested her for another disease, a condition that has similar symptoms. It could have been that one as well. The insurance company wouldn't pay for the other genetic test for the similar condition because they said the doctor didn't have to do that one. He only had to do the one that she was ultimately diagnosed with.
Yep.
But they're very expensive. And I appealed and I appealed again. I mean, it took months. They wouldn't do it. And in the meantime, you're not paying the bill because you're sure that they're going to understand.
Right.
They don't.
Nope. Well, they may understand, but they're simply not going to cover it.
They're just not going to cover it.
Their job is to say no. Their job, it seems, is to deny. And that's what United Healthcare seemed to be doing.
So did you hear the story about Anthem Healthcare this morning? Anthem Blue Cross Blue Shield?
Tell me about that.
Okay.
Right after traffic.
Got it.
Yeah, we're running a little late this morning. I don't know who to blame. Hey, Joan, usually we blame Johnny when this happens.
Okay, let's do that.
There you go.
Johnny, stop it.
Johnny, keep us on time, man.
Come on, man.
Time to check the roads on WTN. Think of Jay, sunny today, a high of 37. The temperature, though, seems to be dropping. I mean, we're now at 17 degrees, and it was 18 a little bit earlier. So it's cold and getting colder. Appreciate you listening to Nashville's Morning News. High again of 37, sunny on Saturday, a high of 52, cloudy on Sunday, and a high of 58. So, Joan, we're talking about this, the murder of this Brian Thompson, United Healthcare CEO. And we're talking about it's gone very dark, and people are celebrating this guy's murder. And you're going to add something that happened with, was it Anthem?
It's Anthem Blue Cross Blue Shield. They operate in Northeast states. They issued a new policy that said, okay, if you're going to have, a surgery, you're getting a knee replacement, well, you would have 30 minutes of anesthesia. If your doctor keeps you under anesthesia for any longer, we don't pay for that.
Are you kidding?
Not kidding. Not kidding.
Did you say 30 minutes?
Whatever. They assign. They
assign for the.
Yeah,
I got it.
For each surgery or procedure that you would be put under, they would assign certain time limits on the amount of anesthesia you can get.
That is insanity.
So this all happened with this. It happened on the same day. They had only had the policy in effect for a couple of days when the CEO was killed, and they walked that policy right back.
Well, they should.
And they blamed it on misinformation. People were being misinformed about what they were really doing.
Wow.
Crazy. I mean, that's a crazy limit.
Yeah, it is. And again, these insurance companies, they are doing whatever they can not to pay out. And, as a guy who paid for insurance all my life with, my kids and now I have it for me as well. And it's just the whole thing feels like a ripoff. It's like, if you're relatively healthy like I am right now, knock on wood, but there comes a time after all of these years of being healthy and paying into it, and I've had this same insurance company for a long time, then the second that you need it, well, that's not covered. Well, you need to go through, 5 different steps before we'll go ahead and cover, what you're looking for. And they make it almost impossible to manage them and deal with them. And every person, Johnny, has horror stories.
Well, they do. And I remember one insurance company that I dealt with, and I never understood I understood what they were trying to do, but you had to talk to a nurse that they had.
Yeah.
And all this nurse basically did was try to talk you out of going to the doctor. And I'm thinking, you don't even know me.
Right.
You don't treat me. So why are you even involved in this? You're a middleman that shouldn't even be there.
Well, because they're trying to persuade you not to do any further tests or what have you.
Exactly.
So, no, I'm right there with everybody's criticism of United Healthcare and some of these other insurance companies that deny so many people and purposely deny after spending so much time paying for your insurance. And so I of course, though, don't condone the murder of Brian Thompson, which other people are, and that's a shame. And people are saying, well, this is part of the radicalization of America. Okay, I'll give you that, but can we also talk about what is going on with the insurance companies? I mean, maybe part of what they were trying to do is draw attention to what these insurance companies have been doing for years. And so here we are, guys, talking about this, and this same conversation is happening in other places. How many people actually knew? I didn't know that United Healthcare, it basically seemed to be their policy to deny as many people as they possibly could. They were illegally using AI, artificial intelligence, to deny people. And so if this draws or brings more attention to policies like that, or draws more attention to what the insurance companies are doing and how many people that they're actually denying coverage, then I think it's a worthy conversation to have. That's my 2 cents on that. So
I would agree with that. And as I told the nurse that was asking me about what's stressing you out? Why is your blood pressure so high? And I said, well, I think it might be that I'm working with talent that can't be on time.
722 on Nashville's Morning
That was before I got here.
News.
Not me.
Uh-huh.
Not me.
On Super Talk 99.7. You know what, Johnny? Just for that, I should just start bloviating about whatever.
I think you should.
Oh, I do want to know, Joan. You said the killer pulled down his mask, flirting with a girl.
Yeah, she asked to see. It was the girl that was checking him in at the hostel in New York, and she was flirting with him, and she said, "Oh, I'd like to see your smile." So he pulled down his mask and smiled at her.
I wonder if he got her phone number. Or I wonder if she got his.
Yeah.
There's that as well. Well, if you stay at a hostel, you got to give him some sort of a phone number.
Well, he did, but he gave all, fake information.
Oh, of course.
He had a fake ID, but he got dropped off there, allegedly. He rode to New York City on a Greyhound bus from Atlanta.
Yep.
Okay.
So, they're tracking him. They've got him in a number of places. They just have to catch up to him.
And they said he was staying with a couple of guys, too.
He stayed in a room with 2 guys in the hostel.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
Yeah.
So where are those 2 guys?
Yeah.
I don't know. They're probably just as shocked as everybody. I doubt they knew about it. This guy clearly though is not a professional. He was in New York for 10 days. He's not a professional because he made a lot of mistakes along the way.
He didn't go see the Rockettes.
He didn't?
No.
They got some high leg kick in there, those Rockettes do.
Yes, they do.
If you're in New York at Christmas time, you got to go see the Rockettes.
Sure. Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. Joan has got the news coming up. What's up?
Well, we've got more on that case and what police believe they know about this guy. Also, there's been a break in the case of an attack in Mount Juliet. We'll tell you about that one, too. It's all coming up at 7:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you very much. Congressman Tim Burchett is joining us here coming up at 7:35 on WTN. Dan Mandis here and my company for foundation repair and concrete leveling is United Structural Systems. Now, they fixed my foundation, and they can help yours as well. Now, they're awesome, easy to work with, and above all, competent and reasonable. Now, if you notice doors and windows that are sticking, uneven floors, maybe gaps between the trim and the ceiling, these are all signs that you might have a possible foundation issue. And nobody does it better than USS. They've been serving Middle Tennessee since 1994, and they've helped thousands of satisfied homeowners with great work and communication as well. Now, they're going to give you a free inspection and detailed estimate before you make a decision. Communication is always key to making sure everyone is on the same page, and you don't pay a dime until the work is done and you are a satisfied customer. USS for all your foundation, concrete leveling, and waterproofing needs. Call them, tell them Dan told you to reach out at 615-488-7855, 615-488-7855, USSTN.com.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Matt Murphy in the middle of downtown Franklin, Tennessee. We've talked so much about Savory Spice. I thought, why not show you the place? So let's go on in and see what's popping at Savory Spice. As I've always said, you will smell the spices even before you walk in. I can smell them right here in the doorway. Come on in and let's introduce you to the one and only Holly, who is the owner and proprietor of Savory Spice. Say hey, Holly.
Hello, everyone.
Now, enough about Holly. Let's talk about spicy and easy products like the incredible taco soup, which, as I said, you put this in a crock pot, you put all the ingredients that it tells you to buy right there, you put the spices in, and it's so easy. So if you don't know what you're doing around the kitchen, it's a perfect way to find your way around the kitchen, as is the Mediterranean dill risotto. Now, for the holidays, pumpkin pie spice. What doesn't it have, Holly?
Pumpkin.
It doesn't have any pumpkin in it. That's a fun fact for all of you kids out there. Now, if you stop by Savory Spice, either in the Franklin location or at L&L Market, you can get yourself a sample of the dill dip, which is my absolute favorite. Just tell them Matt Murphy sent you to Savory Spice with purchase now. So come by Franklin or L&L Market in Nashville and come see Holly and the entire crew at Savory Spice.
Good morning. It is now 7:31. I'm Joan Jones, and I've got your full update here in just a moment. We are sitting currently at 18 degrees, and the full forecast is still to come here. Well, in the case of the murder of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson in Manhattan, new images of the suspect have added to the search effort.
Sources say he arrived in New York November 24th on a bus that originated in Atlanta. Greyhound saying in a statement, "We are fully cooperating with authorities on this active investigation." Police are investigating whether the shooter left the city on a bus after the killing.
That's ABC News correspondent Aaron Katersky. A break in the case of a targeted attack in Mount Juliet.
Police say they arrested the person who fired shots at Wilson County Pastor Greg Locke's home in September. They executed a search warrant at a home in Hermitage and arrested 20-year-old Tyler Poole. Locke's home had 30 to 50 bullet holes in it. One of his kids was home at the time but wasn't hurt. No motive given by police at this time. Ken Weaver, WTN News.
And after more than 150 shows across 5 continents, Taylor Swift's record-breaking Eras Tour is coming to a close on Sunday night in Vancouver, Canada. I know you're crying, Johnny. Rob Sheffield wrote a book about Taylor Swift, and he says he doesn't think she'll take time off and go to the beach.
She does love to announce things, doesn't she? And she loves to announce things in big moments when she knows that the world is watching. So it seems highly likely that she might choose that night to drop some kind of bombshell.
A bombshell. Well, if you've got a Swiftie in your life, they may be in mourning after Sunday because of the tour close. Market Numbers Report brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com. Stock futures are down. Dow futures are down 61 points right now. NASDAQ futures just down a bit, down 5. S&P futures are falling 7 points. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather are next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. An accident in Talbot's Corner this morning. It's on 65 in the southbound lanes at Trinity Lane exit 87, and the right shoulder is blocked off by that. Jolton, that crash is still there. 24 eastbound side, exit 35, a crash there, and traffic is slow going far before that traffic point this morning. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
7:38, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. We want to get right to the Newsmaker Hotline. Congressman Tim Burchett is joining us. And Congressman, always great to have you on. And I thought this was interesting. I've got a lot of things I want to talk to you about. Headline from The Hill. Tim Burchett says he is willing to break with tiny GOP majority if it's morally correct. Now, I thought it was interesting because you tweeted that article out and said you were surprised that, you know, voting for what is morally correct would make news, and you were surprised by that. But part of what you're asking your, fellow congressman to do is just try to think about spending. And is the government overspending? I'm assuming that's one of many things that you were referring to.
100%. You know, we'll take in $1, we'll spend $1.25. Every 100 days, we add another $1 trillion to our debt. And nobody has a plan, either party, to pay it back or pay it down or stop the crazy spending. Just this week, and I got grief for it, but I did not vote for a $300 million plan for something for our parks. Granted, our parks need it. We need preservation. I understand that. But it's $300 million we're just borrowing. We have no plan to pay back. And this is our plan. And both parties do it. And they basically just dare you to vote against it. And I'll take that dare every time because I'm just over it. We're in a fiscal nightmare. Republicans are in charge now. Let's start acting like it.
Well, here's my question, Congressman. Here's my question. So, you have a very slim majority in the House of Representatives. And we have, a Senate controlled by the Republicans and a Republican president. So, does that increase the pressure on you to try to get along with the majority, even though you have oftentimes you've gone against the grain of the Republican Party in the name of fiscal responsibility? Is there more pressure on you now than you felt in the previous term?
Yeah, pretty much, because now, everybody's like, come on, Burchett, we're in charge. This is our time to shine. Well, it's our time to shine by quitting with all the crazy spending. And I was told the other day, I was on a podcast with Sean Ryan, and leadership came to see me. They sent their attack dog to come talk to me about it. and I said, to get ahead, you have to spend money. I mean, you have to raise money for the conference or the caucus, and you have to kiss a lot of butt. And I said, I'm not very good at either one of those. And so I'll never be a chairman. I'll never move up the chain. I'll never, and they said, man, you can't say that kind of stuff. I said, why? Because it's the truth? And he said, yeah, pretty much,
Yeah.
And he laughed. But that's where we're at as a party, as a country. Both parties do it. I just think it's time to change that. You got this Doge thing, and everybody's like, oh, when Doge gets here, well, look, we're already in the majority. Let's act like it. When Doge gets here, Vivek and Elon don't even have a dadgum vote. That's just ludicrous.
Well, Congressman, you were in the room when Elon and Ramaswamy, I guess, came to Capitol Hill. So
right.
we know what their goal is and what your goal is, and every American's goal should be a more efficient government. So you're right. They don't have a vote, and they're acting, I would say, more of like an advisor. That Doge is going to be like an advisory kind of a thing for the government. How successful do you think they're really going to be, especially considering that President Biden has been working out deals sort of preemptively to hamstring incoming President Trump, when it comes to, by the way, forcing federal workers to come back to work in the office?
Well, first of all, you're right. They are just advisory, and a reporter said, doesn't that insult your intelligence that they've got this non-elected? I said, well, that's what the voters are supposed to do. That's what America is supposed to do. They're supposed to tell us, advise us what they see, what they need done, and that's our job. And what they'll be advising the president on will be executive orders that Joe Biden and Obama and the rest of them and the Bushes put in, Clinton, that are still in effect that we don't need. And the only way you take an executive order out is by an executive order. So you've got a president that is willing to do that in Donald Trump, and I assure you he will do that. But then Congress has to, and my point yesterday, I tweeted on my X account that I said that, the problem's going to be in that room, the congressman in that room having the guts to do what they're supposed to do, and it got over 1 million views.
Were they? Well, let me ask you, if I may, Congressman, were they all Republicans in the room, or were?
No, they're all Republicans. We're in the majority, and we've got the ability to do that. And my point was, here just this past week, we spent $300 million that we borrowed for so-called preservation, and again, we're not doing what the people sent us here to do, and the problem's going to be in the Republican conference because we will have. I mean, you're seeing it right now. The U.S. Senate and Joe Biden, they put men in dresses in leadership positions. One was over nuclear secrets, and he ends up getting busted in an airport stealing women's clothes more than once.
Yes.
And he was still allowed to stay in his job for quite some time. And this guy's mentally deficient. He's got a mental issue, and Republicans voted for these cats to stay in their position, and yet they're giving all of Trump's picks grief, and running them through the ringer. This just isn't right, and we need to pay attention. And I see people on Twitter saying, "Oh, we're going to primary them." Well, guess what? You knew this about them before, and you didn't do anything. Talk is cheap. I'm sick of it. Let's do something about it.
7:45, Nashville's Morning News. Congressman Tim Burchett is joining us. Congressman, a few more questions for you, and I've got that coming up. Got to check the roads for 30 seconds, then we'll return on WTN. Thank you, Jay. Sunny today, a high of 37. Right now, 18 degrees at Super Talk 99.7. Sunny on Saturday, high of 52. Cloudy on Sunday, high of 58 degrees. Appreciate you listening to Nashville's Morning News. You were talking about, Congressman Burchett, the fact that, of course, we all know what is going on with President Trump's cabinet picks, Pete Hegseth, and others, and they're facing a hard road. I do find it interesting, and you intimated about the fact that you have a lot of people in the Senate, Republicans, who voted for Lloyd Austin, yet these same people are giving Pete Hegseth a hard time, Kash Patel as well, I will assume. So how do you feel the situation with Pete Hegseth is going? Do you think he's going to, I know that you're in the House and you don't have a vote, but I mean, how do you think this whole thing is going?
I think it's tight. While Pete's getting hammered, the others are slipping through, and so I agree with you. You got that clown that they put in charge of it prior to it, and he, walking around in front of our military during COVID, like in a rubber hazmat suit or something. I mean, just an embarrassment to our country. Couldn't answer questions in committee. Just it wasn't qualified for the position, and Republicans voted for this guy. And here we are with a legitimate guy who's served his country, who was awarded combat medals, I think a Bronze Star, and we're allowing the media to beat him up, with unsubstantiated claims. It's just like in the Supreme Court, and we just sit there and take it. And the Republicans are leading the charge against him. So I think it's going to be very close. I think it's going to have a lot to do with the public's input, and I hope they have a long memory, because some of these people are going to be up for
re-election?
Yeah, up for re-election. I'm sorry. I was just reading a note from my wife. My dog came home. I was worried that he was missing.
Uh-oh.
Roscoe. He's a rounder, but I love him. He's loyal. Doesn't have a tooth in his head. Got mauled by bears. Been hit by 2 cars. But dadgum, he's a survivor. Roscoe Houdini Burchett. Anyway, I just I feel like, again, as Republicans and conservatives, we have a very short memory, and the liberals don't. We get a president, now we got Congress by 1 or 2 votes, and we got the Senate, and we think, oh, we're done. And then we forget about the local races. I can't tell you enough how important those local city councils, state reps, state senate, governor, all those things, your county court clerks, all those people are just so important, and we forget about it. And we also forget about Congress and Senate. We think, oh, we got these Republicans in here.
Right.
Well, a lot of them aren't very conservative Republicans. They're just Republicans because they couldn't get elected as a Democrat, and vice versa. You've got Democrats who are, some of them who possibly are Republicans but couldn't get elected, in their districts. And I think we need to start holding these people accountable, dude. We got to start checking voting records and not just what they tell us at the Lincoln Day or Reagan Day or the MAGA Day dinners, and check their dadgum voting record.
So you'd mentioned local races. You'd mentioned, governor's races and so forth. Is there anything you'd like to announce today, Congressman Burchett?
No, but my wife found my dog.
There you go. Your name. I'm really glad your wife, the dog, came in. Your name has been rumored as someone who might be interested in running for governor here in the state of Tennessee.
Yeah.
You have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, it'd be an honor. I'm currently the congressman for the 2nd Congressional District, and that's where I am currently. And if the Lord leads me to run for governor, I'll take it on then. But until he does, I'm going to stay right where I am, and hopefully the people will reelect me.
Keep fighting the good fight, Congressman Tim Burchett. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. And if I don't talk to you before then, have a very Merry Christmas.
And I hope you have a very politically incorrect Merry Christmas, brother.
All right, very good. See you later. Thank you very much. Congressman Tim Burchett joining us on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
I love that man.
I wanted to go down the road of how exactly, if Roscoe has so many, problems, how in the world did he get out?
Has no teeth.
No teeth, been hit by 2 cars. I mean,
But he's still plugging along.
He's still escaping
and coming back home.
I wanted to ask him, he didn't sound like he was in the mood to play, but I wanted to ask him, so how did Roscoe get out? Does he have a doggy door, or maybe got out? I'm curious.
When a dog wants to get out, they'll find a way.
Oh, Bandit. That damn dog. So we have in my backyard, right? So we fence or like a wooden gate. What do you call that? So we have a little, they're shifted in either direction. So there's a little hole between the 2 sections of fence that he's able to get, and he gets out of there every damn time. And there have been times where we don't even know that he's gone. We don't even know that he's escaped.
And somebody will bring him back to you?
No. I'll walk out to check the mail, and there's Bandit just sitting there on the, on the front porch.
With all of his teeth.
He's got all of his teeth. I get mad at that dog. I tell him, one of these days, man, you're going to be coyote food. But he's too dumb to understand that.
He's not dumb at all, man. I'm telling you. Any of your videos or photos, it seems like he knows when to photobomb. He's smart.
Oh, I put up pictures of Bandit. I put up pictures of Christmas trees. I woke up this morning, and the lovely Amy had put all the Christmas trees together. And so I woke up, and it was Christmas in the Mandis house. And in all these pictures of the Christmas trees, Bandit's right there.
Yes, he is. That's smart. And I'll tell you another smart dog, Hazel.
She is a smarty. Hazel doesn't leave our sides for anything. You open the door, she flies out the door, and if I say stay, she'll come right back and sit next to me. She is amazing.
Bandit does the same thing with me as long as I've got a piece of cheese.
Yeah.
See, he's smart.
He's smart. Yeah.
He wants nothing to do with me unless I've got some sort of food. And then it'll be like, oh, the short one has food, so let me go and
short one.
And that dog, and Amy and I have talked about this. If I'm in the kitchen, he is always under my feet, like always.
Oh yeah.
And there have been times when he's almost made me fall backwards, and I would, hit my head.
Then he can get the food even quicker.
That's right. It'd fall right out of my hand. So anyway. So, you know what? Prayers for Roscoe. And
I think Roscoe's going to be just fine.
Yeah, I think Roscoe's going to be fine.
There you go.
If he survived all that with no teeth, he's doing okay.
Yep, there you go. All right, soft food for Roscoe. And you know what? Dogs actually like the soft food better. So if he's got no teeth, he doesn't have to, doesn't have to eat the hard food. He can have the really yummy, mushy stuff.
That food is smelly.
Really?
Yeah, it is.
Ugh, it's the worst.
Am I the only one who thinks that stuff smells kind of good?
You are.
Sounds like
food?
it.
What dog food? Super textures.
It's disgusting.
Does wet dog's food smell good to you?
Now are you talking about the dry dog food that you put some kind of liquid over and make it soft? Or are you
I'm talking about when you open a can of dog food.
Oh, yeah.
And then you would like try to shake the food out, and it all comes out in one little plop into the dog bowl. Oh, I love that.
Okay.
There's something wrong with you.
That and the Wicked Witch from The Wizard of Oz.
Yeah.
You're just a different kind of guy.
You're right, Joan.
Different's a nice word.
You're right, Joan. There's a lot wrong with me, including I'm constantly late this morning.
Yeah, you are, and you're giving Johnny a heart attack.
No, I just want to know: am I the only one that thinks that soft dog food smells good? I can't be the. Should I throw Amy under the bus?
No.
I'm going to throw Amy under the bus. Amy likes the smell of wet dog food, but she also likes the smell of skunk, which is really bizarre. Anyway, moving right along. Joan, what's coming up?
Wow, there's so much we know about you guys now. We'll tell you how the gun used by the United Healthcare CEO killer could lead police right to him, and how close is Pete Hegseth to getting all the votes he needs for confirmation. Those stories coming up at 8 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Joan. 7:55. Dan Mandis here for my friends at Stoltz Co. Listen, you need a pole barn in your life. If you've got a piece of property, maybe some land that you don't know what to do with, think about one of these pole barns from my friends at Stoltz Co. They are the premier pole barn builders in the state of Tennessee. Putting up a pole barn from Stoltz Co. could increase the value of your land big time. You can use it any number of different ways. A garage, an event space, an equestrian building. You can live in it. We call them barn dominiums. Pole barns from Stoltz Co. They are flexible and built really well. Now, you could also plan ahead and use one for your retirement home. Bottom line is there's a lot of different ways you can use a pole barn. And when you go through Stoltz Co., they are built incredibly well. Call them 615-622-5992. Tell them Dan Mandis told you to reach out. 615-622-5992. You can also find them online, Instagram and Facebook, and at their website, STOLTZCO, stoltzco.com, 615-622-5992.
Did you know you're overpaying for your health and wellness products?
With over 20 company-owned brands offering its members vitamins, supplements, wellness, and skincare products, you're able to save up to 70% off retail.
Members Nutrition can't change your life, but we can change the way you live.
Good morning, 8:01. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. We've gained a couple of degrees. We're at 22 now. We've got the full forecast just ahead. New details in the search for the gunman who shot and killed the CEO of a major insurance company. Police have not revealed a motive yet for that shooting, but some experts believe the evidence points to a grudge against United Healthcare or the insurance industry as a whole. Former FBI special agent and ABC News contributor Brad Garrett said that the weapon used was unique. There's not a lot of them out there.
It may be much easier to trace that weapon and who purchased it, presuming that the shooter is the one who actually purchased the weapon.
NBC News reports investigators believe the killer hopped on a Greyhound bus in Atlanta and arrived in New York City a couple of days before the shooting. He stayed at a hostel the night before the killing. A Nashville man has been arrested for making threats of mass violence against a local church. 26-year-old Corey Gamble reportedly sent the messages through Instagram to a friend. He's being held on $5,000 bond. The Springfield Police Department and the FBI are working together on an armed bank robbery that took place yesterday afternoon. A black man wearing a light blue sweatshirt and a black face mask was seen on camera entering the Volunteer State Bank. He pulled out a gun and demanded money. Now, police say that sweatshirt had a phrase on it. It said, "Sometimes you got to stir up the water." There is a cash reward for information that leads to the arrest of the suspect. President-elect Trump's choice for defense secretary says he is a changed man and he'll keep fighting to win confirmation.
His attorney says Pete Hegseth will submit to an FBI background check, that the forms are now being filled out. So far, 2 of the 9 Republican women in the Senate say they back his bid. But Iowa's Joni Ernst says she's not on board yet. The combat veteran and sexual assault survivor says Hegseth's confirmation hearing will be critical to his bid to lead the Pentagon.
ABC's Stephen Portnoy. The October jobs report is in. Payrolls reportedly were up 227,000 in November. That was more than expected, but the unemployment rate rose a bit to 4.2%. That's helped stock futures to turn positive. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather are next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. Antioch, a crash on 24, the westbound side, Hickory Hollow Parkway exit 60, and the right lane is blocked off there. Traffic is slow going up to that crash point. The Nations, Briley Parkway southbound before I-40 west, that's exit 27, a crash, and the right exit lane has been blocked off. And a crash as well in East Nashville, Cleveland Street east of Ellington Parkway. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Information fueled.
Opinion driven. This is Nashville's Morning News with Dan Mandis.
And so, my fellow Americans,
We talk news.
8:07 Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hope you are doing well for a Friday. Man, a lot going on. Congressman Tim Burchett joined us in the previous segment. Let's be sure and we podcast that, JB, if we could. Because I think he had a lot of really great things to say. This audio from Jasmine Crockett is going around. You guys want to play Fun with Audio, where we react to some audio? I don't even know what this is about, but multiple people have sent this to me. And End Wokeness has said this is Representative Jasmine Crockett yet again ranting against white people. Now, if you don't know who Jasmine Crockett is, do you know who Jasmine Crockett is, Joan? Jasmine Crockett is a lawmaker, a representative out of the Dallas area, and she is known to be incredibly vitriolic. And audio is going around of Jasmine Crockett, and she is, they say, raging and ranting against white people. Let's listen, shall we?
Where we were talking about how many voters. Listen, when you're counting people, you're not just counting voters. You count children, don't you?
Correct.
You count a lot of people that aren't necessarily voters. And I want to make sure that we really get to the nitty-gritty on Texas, because this is hilarious to me.
Mm-hmm.
Texas added 2 seats. In 2020, according to the census, and we know that there was a significant undercount, specifically in Texas for a combination of reasons, but we know that specifically Texas added 4 million people. Of those 4 million people, do you want to take a guess at how many were Anglos? Just a guess.
I'd say a majority.
180,000. That's it, of 4 million. 95% of the people that were added, and we know that when it comes to minority populations, they tend to be undercounted. So get this. We added 4 million people.
Mm-hmm.
They were people of color. Texas got 2 new seats. So they took those black and brown and Asian bodies, and guess what? Do you think that we got a new black, brown, or Asian seat? Somehow, the way that they do their Republican math in the state of Texas.
Wow. So you hear where she's going, right?
That's amazing to me. I played that audio for my husband last night, and we were both just like, what?
Well, and Tim Burchett was actually talking about this. I didn't have a chance to ask him this question, but he was talking about this very hearing where he was talking about, they're talking about counting illegals in the census. That's what they're talking about. And how it favors the Democrats. And I mean, I've spoken to both of our senators about this as well. And basically what's been happening is illegals come into places like Dallas, for example, or Texas or whatever. They are counted in the census. Ultimately, a lot of those people, they are in the big city areas. And they talk about how, yeah, this absolutely favors the Democrats. And so Jasmine Crockett is now one of course, many Democrats who are off the rails on this kind of stuff.
That amounted to 2 new white seats. Guess what? White Republican seats. We got 2 new Republican seats.
White Republican seats. So, I don't know, don't people like just vote for whoever they want to represent them in Texas, or do they do it different? Like, I'm trying to figure out what exactly is it that Jasmine Crockett is suggesting. Is she suggesting that, well, no, you have to vote for the black person? You have to vote for the Hispanic person? Like, I'm trying to figure out what is her problem.
And apparently, if you're white, you can't represent any other color.
That's another great point, Joan. That is another great point.
Those black and brown and Asian bodies. And guess what? Do you think that we got a new black, brown, or Asian seat? Somehow, the way that they do their Republican math in the state of Texas, that amounted to 2 new white seats. Guess what? White Republican seats. We got 2 new Republican seats out of 4 million people of color. So let me tell you, they love to use our bodies to apportion us in an inaccurate way.
Got it. All right. Maybe I should start previewing this audio before I play it, because my mind is turned into a pretzel trying to understand her.
Yeah, mine's mush.
I mean, so in other words, if you're, by her line of thinking, mind you, this is Jasmine Crockett. With her line of thinking, Joan, then if my representative is black, I should have a problem with that, right? Because that's what she's saying. Her problem is that there's a bunch of white Republicans, or 2 new white Republicans for the state of Texas, because when they did the census and all these things, and they gained 2 seats. And her problem is that they were, air quoting here, white Republican seats. No, the people of Texas voted, and they voted for who they thought would be the best candidate. It just so happened that a couple of white people won. I mean, that's the bottom line. And so she can sit here and she can complain all she wants, Jasmine Crockett can. And boy, is she a peach, isn't she? But here's the deal, is that for her, she's complaining about something that if you turn it around, then it looks incredibly racist. I mean, I think what she is saying is racist, but if you turn it around and you have people complaining about, black people that, these black seats, and if I'm a white guy and I don't want to be represented by somebody who's black, I would never say that, but I would be vilified and I would be attacked, and quite frankly, I'd probably lose a lot of listeners. She's just, I understand that she is somebody who is, quite entertaining when it comes to the things that she said, and we played her audio many, many, many times. But for Jasmine Crockett, the bigger point is, and this is part of what Tim Burchett has been saying, is that when you have all of these illegal aliens that come into our country, and then they go to Democrat cities and Democrat states, then that gives the Democrats more representation in Congress. And we've seen that over and over and over again. As a matter of fact, Tim Burchett, I think I'm safe to say this, but I know that Senator Bill Hagerty has come out, and a lot of Republicans have said, you know what? You've got to be legal in this country to be counted in our census, because we're also counting representation in the House of Representatives. So it all makes perfect sense. Anyway, it's 8:14 on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I do have some news on Pete Hegseth. That is coming up straight ahead. It is 8:14. Time to check the roads on WTN. Thank you, Jay. Appreciate it. It's 8:15 on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7. As far as your weather today, sunny, a high of 37. It's 18 degrees. Earlier, it was 18, then it went down to 17. Now it's back up to 18. On Saturday, it's going to be sunny, a high of 52, cloudy on Sunday, and a high of 58. Appreciate you listening to Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Some very quick cabinet news. Senator Mike Lee was on with Benny Johnson talking about Pete Hegseth. There's a number of different things that are going on within the Senate right now. You've got a lot of people that are sort of jockeying for position. And I've seen a couple of different stories now that are showing that Pete Hegseth will be confirmed, including, again, Senator Mike Lee.
I do. One of the reasons is, it's one thing separate and apart from whether somebody's just hesitating and whether they have a practice of allowing somebody to go through the committee process before weighing in. It's one thing for people to say they might have concerns or they might be reluctant to vote for somebody. It's quite another to vote not to confirm a nominee from your own president on a high-profile, prominent cabinet-level position or important sub-cabinet position like FBI director. They're very different things.
Yeah, and he's right. And if we're honest about Donald Trump and his numbers, he had a very good election. He won obviously the popular vote and the Electoral College. So I don't personally believe that any other Republican would have been able to reach, as I said this earlier, the heights that Donald Trump has politically. I think that his victory was very unique in the sense that you have a lot of people that are incredibly passionate about Donald Trump that are not passionate about any other Republican. And so I think that it is a fool's errand for a senator like Joni Ernst, for example, to try to torpedo Pete Hegseth, the guy that Trump wants to run the Defense Department. I think it is absolutely insane. I mean, if you want to talk about picking your battles, you really do have to pick your battles. And you really don't want to get off on the wrong foot with Donald Trump. He won Iowa, and I'm talking about Joni Ernst. He won Iowa 56 to 42%. And so those numbers tell me that Iowans want Donald Trump to have the cabinet that he wants. And so whether we're talking about Kash Patel, whether we're talking about Pete Hegseth, if Trump picked him, then he deserves them. Now, this is what Joni Ernst said. This was on Fox News, and she's saying that she has not made up her mind about Hegseth.
All I'm saying is we had a very frank and productive discussion, and I know that we will continue to have conversation in the upcoming month.
Okay, it doesn't sound on your answer that you've gotten to a yes. And if that is the case, it sounds to me as if the hearing will be critical for his nomination. Am I right about that?
I think you are right. I think for a number of our senators, they want to make sure that any allegations have been cleared, and that's why we have to have a very thorough vetting process.
So I heard from a whole bunch of you folks yesterday when I played all that audio from Pete Hegseth and Megyn Kelly, and I played, as much as I could, all the relevant audio of the accusations. And I heard from a lot of you folks, and a lot of you folks said that when they heard him defend himself, you thought, you know what? He's right. And he deserves the benefit of the doubt. And hearing him give his side of the story to all of these anonymous accusations, and a lot of y'all changed your mind. Or at the very least, the audio gave you something to think about, which I think is good.
We got to be very careful here not to allow any very small group of Republican senators to exercise a de facto veto at the outset without ever having to go to the floor and man up, woman up, whatever you want to call it, by actually voting no. Those are two very different things. And I think some of those who may have expressed reluctance publicly or privately or both are going to find that it's much more difficult on a high-profile, important, personally imperative appointment like these ones to vote no.
Yeah, and basically you need a simple majority with Democrats. Every single one of them is going to vote no on Pete Hegseth. So that leaves it to the Republicans to, in my opinion, get it together, Hegseth and Trump. They can only afford 3 defections. New York Post reporting earlier that privately there is 0 Republican senators that actually oppose Pete Hegseth. There's just a lot of posturing that is going on. And, you know, to me, listening to Hegseth talk about what he went through, the mistakes that he made, the perspective he has now, and hearing him defend himself. I hope you heard the audio yesterday. I believe that he has the ability to explain and defend himself and his record in Senate confirmation hearings. I do. And if not defend, then just explain where he is today. And he talked about all of this yesterday as he continues to tour the Senate. This is Pete Hegseth.
And I'm proud of what I fought for. I'm not going to back down from them one bit. I will answer all of these senators' questions, but this will not be a process tried in the media. I don't answer to anyone in this group. None of you. Not to that camera at all.
Love it.
I answer to President Trump, who received 76 million votes on behalf and a mandate for change. I answer to the 100 senators who are part of this process and those in the committee. And I answer to my Lord and Savior and my wife and my family. I'm proud to be here. And as long as Donald Trump wants me in this fight, I'm going to be standing right here in this fight, fighting to bring our Pentagon back to what it needs to be.
What have your conversation? And Donald Trump, last night, CNN has this report, Donald Trump defending Pete Hegseth and says he will be a fantastic defense chief. And that is Donald Trump. He says that he is doing very well. He says Pete is a winner, and there's nothing that can be done to change that. You know, Joni Ernst and John Cornyn, I know that we've all talked about this, and we discussed this with Congressman Tim Burchett earlier, but they voted to confirm Lloyd Austin, the train wreck of defense secretary under Joe Biden. And so how can you say, you know what, my judgment is so good that I voted to confirm Lloyd Austin, yet now, and Lloyd Austin, again, complete train wreck. You got, failed pullout of Afghanistan. You've got the wokeness in the military, all of those things. Yet you have a problem with Pete Hegseth. So that's part of the conversation too, is okay, so let's talk about Senate and Joni Ernst and John Cornyn. And by the way, let's be honest, a lot of Republicans, if not most of the Republicans, did vote to confirm Lloyd Austin. But here's the thing, is that I believe you should give Pete Hegseth the benefit of the doubt. As I said yesterday, all these accusations are anonymous, or he can very easily explain. That's why I think that he would do really well, Hegseth would do really well in a confirmation hearing. It's quite possible these senators, they just want things to go through the proper channels. By the way, did you hear this the other day, speaking of Lloyd Austin, that we sent a bunch of equipment to Taiwan, and because his department didn't ship it correctly, most of that equipment that we sent to Taiwan was damaged by water. I kid you not. They say, and this is from the Daily Mail, the Pentagon made several shipments of military equipment to Taiwan between November of 23 and March of 2024, but because the shipments were not delivered properly, more than 67% of the equipment suffered water damage, according to a Department of Defense watchdog report released back in September, and it's making its way through, the news media this week. So, I mean, good Lord.
This feels like the dock that they built that got busted up, and they spent bajillions of dollars on that.
Yep, the dock that they built. Why am I Gaza, right?
Yes, it was in Gaza.
Gaza.
It was supposed to help with relief aid.
Didn't that thing fall apart after a month or so?
It wasn't very long. It broke up in a storm.
How many different embarrassments can the United States have at the hands of Joe Biden? I had his topic. I didn't get to do it today. Doggone it. But in the news today, I'm just going to give you a couple of headlines. In the news today, you've got more money going to Ukraine this week, $725 million Joe Biden is saying that he's going to send to Ukraine. Let's also not forget that you've got Biden saying he's going to send $1 billion, right, to Angola. Yet we still have people that are suffering in Western North Carolina. James O'Keefe is actually doing a big expose on how bad FEMA was in Western North Carolina.
We're seeing firsthand the devastation on the ground.
We got to get that green shed.
That green shed was over here.
Was right where we're
and it just floated over there.
Does FEMA come alongside and do stuff? We don't really see the help.
And is FEMA funding any of this here? This activity?
We don't believe they want these people out.
Has FEMA come to help you?
No, they haven't helped me yet.
You're going to live in that tent?
We still have 3 people missing from this community.
Yeah, so, I mean, it looks like it's going to be really good. I'm probably going to put it on my watch list for this weekend. And the bottom line is that we're sending all of this money all over the country. And still the people of Western North Carolina, they're saying that they're not getting any help whatsoever, did not get a lot of help from FEMA. So we'll see what James O'Keefe is able to uncover. 824 Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk. Joan Jones, what's coming up?
Well, Dan, we've got the latest on the guy the killer who took the life of the CEO of United Healthcare on the Manhattan streets. Also, Pete Hegseth is doing the math, and he's getting the votes, or does he get the votes that he needs to get confirmed? We'll take a look. That's all coming up at 8:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Joe. 826, Dan Mandis here. If you missed the Glock Store's incredible Black Friday sale, great news. It is not too late. They've decided to extend it as we make our way into January. So we've got that story and a whole lot more. I'm going to be honest with you, folks. I pulled the wrong copy. But this is kind of like the way my day is going. So, Johnny, instead of the Glock Store, I'm going to talk about Window Nation, and then we'll talk about the Glock Store later. Friends, if you want to upgrade your home and save a little money, listen to this great deal from Window Nation. They're offering an incredible discount on new windows right now. It is their incredible end-of-the-year sale, and it is a big one. Get 50% off all window styles plus 0% interest for 72 months. That is 6 years with no interest, and you also get another 10% off. Now, clearly, it's not getting colder, it is cold. And if you have old and inefficient windows, then you've got your warm air inside that is going to be leaking outside, and that cold air is going to come in. Let Window Nation keep you warm this winter. You save on new windows and heating bills with Window Nation. So give your home the gift of great savings for Christmas and check out the great savings with Window Nation. Get 50% off all window styles plus 0% interest for 72 months. That is 6 years with no interest, and you can also get another 10% off. 866-90-NATION, 866-90-NATION, windownation.com.
The guaranteed offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lock boxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
Good morning. It's 8:31. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. Pete Hegseth spending the day on Capitol Hill again yesterday, meeting with senators to shore up support for his nomination as the head of the Department of Defense. Well, Hegseth's team have reportedly told Donald Trump they think Hegseth may prevail because they haven't found 3 Republican senators who are hard no votes. But ABC's Catherine Falder says she's done the math, too, and she comes up with a different answer.
There are 9 women Republican senators serving in the Senate. Through my reporting, I know that those senators are the ones that Donald Trump's orbit are the most worried about. Now, remember, he can only afford to lose about 3 senators. ABC caught up yesterday with all 9 of these women, and only 2 of them have publicly said that they would support Hegseth.
Tennessee's Marsha Blackburn is one of them that does support him. Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy traveling to Capitol Hill yesterday, too. They gave a preview to some Congress members about their plans. And here's ABC's Nicole D'Antonio.
Lawmakers reportedly discussing a variety of cuts targeting the education department, redundancy in the government workforce, and government employees working from home. The department Musk and Ramaswamy will lead will not be a true government department. It will only provide recommendations for the administration and Congress, which has the power of the purse.
And reports say Musk and Ramaswamy told lawmakers they would be keeping a naughty and nice list of those who join the budget slashing proposals and those who don't. Moments after the opening bell, stocks began on a higher note on a better than expected jobs report from November. Dow is up 53, NASDAQ gaining 25, S&P is up 5 points. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather are next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Thank you, Joan. 834. Dan Mandis here for the Glock Store and their Shoot 270 indoor ranges. And yes, these are rooms, not lanes. Now, all of us have shot in the lanes, and they're the same everywhere you go. I've been shooting in the Shoot 270 indoor ranges for a couple of years now, and they are amazing. Big old rooms, and you can improve your shooting in these rooms. The trainers at the Glock Store, they're incredible as well. They show you why the Glock is the most popular handgun in America. By the way, you can also tour their Shoot 270 indoor ranges. It is the only one in the country where you can get private shooting rooms that offer one-on-one personal instruction. You'll actually shoot less and learn more. Every time I shoot at the Glock Store, I leave a better and more confident shooter. Every single time, guaranteed. So book your session and check out the pictures and videos at shoot270.com. The Glock Store at glockstore.com. Minutes from the airport and worth the drive from anywhere.
Well, there is a crash at Riverfront. It's 2nd Avenue North at Gay Street. Also an accident in Joelton. It's the 24 eastbound lanes before New Hope Road, exit 31. And a crash in Charlotte Park, American Road at Sunliner Drive. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.836, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Johnny, what am I doing, man?
You're doing Mark Spain.
Thank you. Mark Spain Real Estate. Spend your time where it matters most this holiday season and sell your home fast with a guaranteed offer from Mark Spain Real Estate. Don't worry about showings, open houses, or spending money on costly repairs. The guaranteed offer from Mark Spain Real Estate allows you to bypass the market, receive an all-cash offer, and close in as little as 21 days. Now, friends, if you're looking for a hassle-free experience like Tom's that makes you the most money, my friends at Mark Spain Real Estate make selling your home simple. With over 12,500 five-star reviews, Mark Spain Real Estate knows what matters most, a quick sale and maximum profit. Selling your home is one of the biggest financial decisions you're ever going to make. So who you work with matters. Trust the most experienced real estate team in America and close with confidence. 855-299-SOLD, 855-299-SOLD. Find them online, get a guaranteed offer on your home today, and start packing.
Oh, no.
Hey, Johnny, are you listening to us talking here?
No, I was not.
841 on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7.
Are you talking about your gurgling stomachs?
Yeah, I mean, we are.
Yes.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, that. So the reason why when you went to me to read the Mark Spain,
After I just told you a couple of seconds before.
I was enthralled by the story that Chris Hand was telling me, and there's no other way to lead into it.
Uh-huh.
So why don't you just tell the folks what you experienced yesterday during your radio broadcast?
Man, I was farting in the studio all day.
Oh, my.
Were you really?
It was bad. I'll be honest with you. And at one point during my show, a sales lady walked by, and
That's always the case.
I thought she was going to come in, and I was like, please no, please no. and then at one point, Joan walked by, and I'm like, for the love of God, please don't come in here. And she didn't. I dodged some bullets yesterday, boys.
Well, you're lucky because anytime I've had that problem, there's always a great-looking woman that walks in the room.
So I said to Dan, I came in here, I said, you ever fart in the studio?
And First of all,
He said I'm doing it right now.
Hold on. Johnny, is it okay if an ugly woman smells your farts in the studio?
Well, I've had that happen too, and it's embarrassing. I mean, it's just embarrassing if anybody does.
So I was horrified by what Matt was telling me, or Chris was telling me, and I literally said, I can't believe you're telling me this story. He says, what, you've never farted in the studio? Complete and utter silence, right?
Yeah. Well, I had this conversation with Virginia last night, too. I said, well, you know, I kept him chambered once I knew that we were getting close to the cross with Murphy.
Yeah.
And I said, you know, Dan, I'm sure he does. But he knows I'm in there at 8:30, so he's probably chambering them around 8:15.
So, first of all, I don't know how big this studio is, but it's clearly not big enough to contain Chris Hand's farts.
I thought I'm surprised there's paint on the walls.
Were you celebratory farting in here?
It was so bad. My wife said to me, she goes, why didn't you go to the bathroom? I said, but then it would have come back with me and it would have been the hallway's problem. I said, at least here they were quarantined.
It's contained.
So I didn't know what to do. I was stuck between a rock and a fart place.
It does sometimes follow you, and I've never...
It does. It comes with you.
Oh, no. Yes,
that was me. That was me all day.
Okay, so there was one day.
There's one day
where somebody told me. 'Cause remember when Phil and I used to do the cross?
Yes.
Way back when, Phil Valentine.
Yeah.
So somebody told me it was the end of my show. Not close to the end, but whatever. So somebody told me Phil couldn't do the cross today. He was doing whatever it is.
Yeah.
So nature took its course in here, and I let out a Chris Hand.
You don't call it that. That's not fair. That's not fair.
Everybody does it.
I didn't tell you the story for that.
Yeah.
And then who comes walking around the corner but Phil Valentine?
There you go.
I was horrified.
Oh, no.
Well,
and I said, Phil, why don't you sit like over there across from me? And I didn't tell him why I wanted him to sit over there, but about midway through, he's such a gentleman. He didn't say anything, but he had that look on his face. Like, who dealt it, man? Who dealt it? And there's only two of us here, and Phil knew it wasn't him.
Well, see, in all fairness, Phil Valentine, back when we were on the crackling station, Phil was trying to be healthy. And so he was eating these candy bars that were supposed to be health-ridden, you know, like some kind of...
Sure.
Yeah. But anyway, they made him fart. And the newsman at the time was Dan Idom. Great newsman. But Dan would complain to me after Phil would leave the studio. He goes, oh, my God, what is he eating? I said, it's those bars. So one day, Dan and I went to a Mexican restaurant. And, of course, we came back with a problem. And so we decided to pay Phil back.
Oh, my God.
And he said, my God, what happened in here? I said, it's payback for those health bars you're eating. And he did quit eating those after that.
Did he?
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure that everyone was happy.
Yeah,
I'm sure that, thank God he stopped eating those.
Did any of you guys ever, like, you're in bed with your wife and you'd fart and then you hold the covers over your wife's head?
Ooh, a little Dutch oven.
That's what they're called, Dutch ovens.
Okay.
My wife actually does it to me. She saves them up.
Listen, yesterday was so bad. If I had a Democrat as a guest, I would have got slapped with a carbon tax. That's all I know. That's all I know.
You were destroying the ozone.
Oh, my gosh. That would have been
That's why it's so damn cold.
You know that drug we want to give cows to stop the farting? We want to test it on you.
There was one time where Amy and I were in bed and I coughed and a little one came out. And it was silent, but apparently it was deadly.
Oh, no.
That was what Amy said.
Silent but violent.
Oh, those are the worst.
So I got up then, of course, to go to the restroom. And once I lifted up the covers, it was like a big green cloud had enveloped the bed. And Amy's like, oh, my God, what did you do? Honeymoon's over.
Well,
we used to
have an older gentleman that worked here, and I mean, I would have to go in the restroom after him, and it was like, it'd gag you. And he was one of those silent but violent ones. And Phil used to think I was exaggerating. One day, he comes back and he says, "My God, you were right. That man needs to see a doctor." He said, "That's awful."
Courtesy flush wouldn't kill you.
Oh, yeah, please. One more.
I'm wondering what the science says about how long it lingers in a room like this. Like, what's the safe zone? Like 15 minutes?
A room like this is the kill zone. I mean, it's small, it's airtight.
Yes.
You're on the X in this room.
Oh, my God.
Yes, you are.
Listen, Chris, if you start making the chair smell, I'm going to be pissed.
Yeah, but at least he picks up his snacks off the floor.
Yeah, at least that.
Some people wouldn't.
No, and some people haven't. Moving on.
So this is why Dan had trouble with the Mark Spain commercial. Because I walked in and said, "Are you ever farting here?"
All right, so what brought that on, of course, was that
we know what brings it on.
Oh, no.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm the only person in Middle Tennessee that actually likes the smell of wet dog food.
Wet dog food.
Actually, some other people on the Super Text line do side with me in the liking the smell of wet dog food.
It smelled like wet dog food in here yesterday.
No, I'm talking about
I think that was more like wet cat food, buddy. I think that's what that was.
For the first time in forever, I'm glad that nobody sponsors this segment.
Oh no! So there's a great sponsor that could. Did you ever hear of Poo-Pourri?
Yeah, Poo-Pourri. Yeah, I've heard of that.
Yes.
Yeah, they'd be a great sponsor for the segment.
Yeah, they would.
See, I'm out on fragrance. I'm not the guy that's going to air freshen this place. It's not good for you. I'd rather waft in it. It's healthier. It's healthier.
Well,
that artificial fragrance is bad for you, man. Don't do it. Every time I'll take the fart. Thank you.
Dude,
By the way,
usually I kind of go along with you on this one. We're separated.
Fragrance is bad.
just so
I'll
you
take
know,
fragrance.
Fragrance is bad.
we have disinfectant spray, Country Fresh Scent, here in the studio that I use every day to wipe the counter. So if you have another emergency 3 hours long and you see somebody walking into the studio, just spray this around real quick.
All right, perfect.
To your
And then
right.
they'll come in and they'll smell that and they'll go, "Oh, he must have farted in the studio."
Or it'll just smell like both.
Yeah.
Smells like,
my God.
Smells like lemon scent and farts in here. What is that?
We are being excoriated on the text
I
line.
bet.
now.
If they were all 12-year-olds.
Yeah.
How bad is it?
Farts are never not going to be funny.
No, they always are.
They will. It doesn't matter what age you are.
Well, that's why this commercial's so funny.
Oh no! This is beyond disgusting.
Gang of
Please
Four
get
content
back
is
to
a
what your
real
station is
gas.
supposed to be.
Oh.
What are we supposed to be? I don't even.
Oh, we're getting the finger point.
Is this conversation really necessary? 9751 texted in 4 times.
Apparently it is.
4 times.
4 times.
Not just once.
Hey guys, thanks for the breakfast conversation. There's that comment, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, they're up to 5 times now.
Natives are restless.
Listen, we can play the Cars for Kids commercial.
We could. Over and over
Did
again.
you hear what they're doing? I got so excited. My kids are going to be pumped.
What?
They're doing like this contest where they want kids to sing the jingle. My kids sing it all the time.
Well, I think it's time.
I'm going to tell them, sign up.
Why not?
Wait a minute. They're doing a contest. Are they doing open auditions for Cars for Kids?
I like half heard it. I'll be honest with you. But it was sing your own version and tag us. And I was like, man, sign me up.
Yeah.
No.
Sign me up. The Hand Family Band is going to be in on that.
Maybe I'll do one with the that guitar that
Dr. Kevin Mitchell gave you.
Yeah,
Sure.
I'll send in my own jingle.
I can learn how to play my ukulele that he gave me, and I can do the Cars for Kids commercial with the ukulele.
We can duet.
Although I think they want kids, Johnny, just so we're clear.
Well, we're kind of. Well, I think at this point, people think we are kids.
I was going to say, based on this conversation.
Wow. You can actually submit a video of someone performing the Cars for Kids jingle.
Oh,
Yep.
wow.
Yep.
Well,
it's a big deal.
9 to 13 years old, expect to be paid $75 for a rehearsal and $150 for the shoot.
Big money.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's big money, baby.
Big.
Hey, Joan.
Yeah.
Big ain't the word, Ange.
Trucker John says, OMG, I love the way Joan says fart.
Okay.
Well, Joan.
How do you say fart, Joan? Did you say
Yeah.
that one more time for the
Hold on.
for the
Fart.
Oh, boy, you just made his day.
Yeah.
There's
Fart.
There's one super texter that will quote what Joan says and then send it in with like a timestamp. So I'm
Yes.
waiting for today's.
I know, yeah.
Joan Jones.
Fart.
Fart.
We really should probably wrap this up.
This segment was a guess.
Just wipe this one out. And flush it.
By the way, did you admit to Matt Murphy that you had been lighting up the studio? Like, did you ask him when he came in and say, how's it smell in here? You ever do that?
Lord knows he's about to text me.
Oh, yeah.
I bet he is.
If he didn't know, he knows now.
Yeah,
I was considerate. When I know Murphy's coming in, I kept him chambered.
Okay. Kept him chambered.
So there's no warning at all.
Well,
boy, that's not a buddy.
We need like a red flag sign, like
when
warning.
the ocean is dangerous.
Yes.
Like we need
Yes.
that for outside the studio.
Yeah, the diver down flag. Yeah.
You ever actually tooted on the air and it was audible?
No.
No.
Nope.
Me either.
You went from saying that you've never farted in the studio to, okay, I did it one time before Phil walked in, to, all right, the mic was hot. I
we could hear it.
Swalwell.
The mic was hot, so was the flatus. All right, what's coming up next?
Fridays, am I right? Well, we got Susan Crabtree coming on the show to talk about the outburst from Secret Service Director
Speaking of
Rowe.
outbursts, yes.
Yeah. Susan Crabtree is the best when it comes to the Secret Service reporting, so she's going to be joining the show at 10:35. We're going to talk about Doge. I wanted to ask the audience, what's the first thing that you think Doge should cut? We'll do that. Plus, we'll bring you updates on Pete Hegseth, and believe it or not, Kamala Harris and Tim Walz crawled out from under a rock yesterday. We'll cover that and more.
I believe they should cut Biden's pension.
By how much?
I don't know what he makes. All of it.
All of it.
Every single dime that Joe Biden makes in a pension, we should just take that back.
Do you think Joe Biden farts in the office?
No. It's
Ask the Pope.
It's the full Monty.
8:54 Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Dan Mandis here. If your family is obsessed with Wicked, then you're probably wondering how much streaming and memeing your internet can handle your kid's next Wicked-themed sleepover. Well, Xfinity's internet is powerful enough to handle hundreds of devices, so you can get a magical connection with fast speeds and amazing power, even when everyone is online at the sleepover. With Wi-Fi that is truly thrillifying, one might even say that Xfinity's engineers are secretly wizards themselves. Now through December 22nd, incredibly fast 150 megabit Xfinity internet for just $35 a month for 12 months with no annual contract. And free Wi-Fi equipment is included. Plus, learn how to get a free 5G phone with Xfinity Mobile. Go to Xfinity.com to learn more and keep the magic going from your screen to the big screen and see Wicked in theaters. Now, restrictions apply. Requires paperless billing and auto pay with stored bank account. Taxes and fees extra after promo. Regular rates apply. Currently $54 a month for internet service and $15 for Wi-Fi equipment. Actual speeds vary and are not guaranteed.